Here we are, second decider here in the first qualifier for NAC 5. First one happened earlier. It was a banger of a series, and to steal one of the things that you may have been saving up to say again here, Neely, if the games in these qualifiers have been any indicator of what the main event is going to be like, main event in Berlin in early January is going to be incredible. This map is Copenhagen, which is like Regicide Fortress mixed with 2 areas of water, which changes things pretty considerably. Tatto going to bring a villager now. There is a wolf. I've always found this to be a little frustrating for your player, but he just de-aggroes it nicely with the palisade wall. Mm-hmm. And so Tatto's going to dock with the Chinese, and then we've got Celts from Barles, which was not a civ I was expecting to see too much of, but I've seen it multiple times in the qualifier on maps where players want big fish control. So interesting choices.
Yeah, and Celts, like, are they really going for unique units here? I would be really surprised by it, right? Do we really see mass amount of votes? Maybe against Chinese, because then mobility could be a nice advantage. If we get to ideal army compositions, like if Celts get to SO, Chinese are dead.
Yeah.
No redemption on their monks. Like, they don't have an answer to this. Like, this will be really, really ugly. I think TaToH needs to play this one aggressively. And
no bomber cannon, right? So those are the 2 best things to really counter the heavy siege. So what's funny here is, like, the Chinese, obviously this is a 9 villager start in this tournament, but, it generally things scale, especially on a map like this, very similarly. But the Chinese, they should be seen as the overall better civilization for a map like this. But I think when you start to mix in water, Chinese and at least players' comfortability playing Chinese is maybe a little bit lower than, say, Regicide Fortress. So Tatto, you assume he's practiced things quite a bit here. He still has faith that the Chinese can do it, and he's actually gone quite heavily on the water. He knows that Barles has docked the right side, and I think both players are going to assume the other has docked within their walls. So this, you're up against a civ with a wood bonus. This could be a little awkward for Tatto if Barles has the edge to the fire ships.
How big is the wood bonus? If you have 3 villagers advantage going towards the feudal age, those 3 villagers will chop more than the extra bonus for the Celts, especially if he only has 8 on wood right now.
Yeah, that's fair. And it just brings you back again to why Chinese. TaToH, he doesn't want to lose this villager, but he did end up pushing that away. He had no loom, so I can tell why Barles really felt like he could stick around there. And that was well calculated from TaToH. That's a unique scenario there, right? Your feudal age scout and an unloomed villager against another feudal age scout. I can't tell you how many times a player really encounters that in a normal game.
Well, double dock at the bottom now for TaToH. Should win the water at the top. Obviously, Omega long distance, so it won't be too easy to find too many kills there. I like the opening for TaToH here. Needs to save that villager, and will do so.
Yep, does do that. And the villager from Barles actually left the dock. TaToH was looking for that, so that's a small note. That kind of tells TaToH that Barles is probably just going to try and prevent him from fishing, but Barles will not compete in the normal way on water. Fire from Barles in the north, and a big thing to just keep in mind here as things develop is the transitional eco. So you do start with farms here, but how many farms are you adding? Are we going to see the market early, like what we're seeing from Barles? Things like that, where players will try and use it to get an edge.
And let's remind ourselves, right? If Barles gets into an even late game, he will be extremely happy. Like, he just tries to deny the fish from TaToH. That's why he's not, like, crazy in committing at the bottom as well, right? He just tries to play, okay, if we both have, like, 3-4 fishing ships at the top and none at the bottom, that will be good for Barles. So the longer the game goes, the better it is for him.
Yep. Yeah, I do think as TaToH continues to push here in the south, I do wonder, though, like, TaToH's got incredible micro. I think that, like, because of how good TaToH's strategy is, and his creativity, I feel like people, they don't use his micro and unit control as a selling point for him, right? When they really should. I think his unit control is insane. So I just wonder, like, Chukonu, it still can micro down onagers, even Celt onagers, right? Like in that early window, early castle age, good Chukunu numbers when the opponent's teching onager, is Barl's going to be able to just like give up full map control to fall back towards onager? I think you almost have to though, right? Because there's not much. Like maybe you could try Woad Raiders for map control, but it doesn't feel extremely natural.
I think it's totally fine to give up the first castle, right? And it's totally fine if the Chinese player gets a lot of map control. You ideally want to only fight in one dimension where you have like 4 onagers, some halberdiers protecting them. And Barles, he should never get into the scenario where he takes big engagement against Chukunu numbers before he actually has a proper amount of onagers. At least 3-4 before the engagement feels reasonable.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see if... right now Barles has no scout, right? And he is going to eventually lose control of this pawn. So there is that as well for Tatto, where Tatto could potentially get all the relics here with having the scout out there. The 3 relics, of course, here on the water. I do find it awkward to get these relics. I think Barles has his ship stuck right there. It looked like they were stuck. And that does happen occasionally. I think if it's any consolation, though, Barles would have lost water anyways. So, well played, Tatto. Tatto has only lost 1 unit so far this game.
Pretty solid there. And another galley spawns. Really low HP galleys for Tatto. Might finish the dock off, but I think he needs to build another fire.
Yeah, this is annoying for Tatto. He does not want to have to produce anything, but because these were all so weak, this is nice. And if Barles can squeeze out a demo now, just like one more demo hit, maybe on fish or something, it could be kind of nice.
Fish not really clumped up right now, though, so will be one of the tricky things. And that what surprised us so much, right? A villager could have held that area a bit longer.
Yeah, I think he did it because Tatto's scout was there. I actually think it was really smart from Barles. I would never bring my villager home. I would just use it to repair and have to quick wall it, and eventually I'd be broken, so I'd be down a vill, and I'd lose water anyways, right? We see that very frequently in these situations, so that was a nice little move there from Barles, because he is behind economically already against the Chinese. He doesn't want to find ways to make that be worse for him.
Solid wood amount for him, though. Look at that.
Seriously.
He can drop it to sea and buy himself another 100 stone. Wouldn't be surprised if he has 3 quick town centers in his starting base. Needs to expand towards the bottom eventually, though.
With good eco upgrades is possible, too. But I like this. He's going to get War Galley. Now, normally, you're not going to really expect much from Barles in this situation when he's got a 30 HP dock on the other side, right? But Tatto, he could lose all of his fish here. I think that's what you have to aim for, though, personally. But maybe you can win the water here. I would say just make sure your opponent doesn't have fishing ships. Tatto, good micro. War Galley upgrade about to come in for Barles, but Tatto hitting all of the fish from Barles, and Barles is losing on the other side. And I think he should just decide now with those fires in the north, go kill Tatto's fish.
Yeah, I thought he wanted to. Takes the fight now, tries to micro around a bit, and will win the fight.
Oh!
He loses it against 4 HP Fire Galley.
Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. And, first game, you are the underdog. Barles is used to this. He's a phrase you've used, the best player that no one is talking about, I think is what you said about Barles many times over the past year or two. So, he's used to coming in here against players of that top 5 caliber and having these conversations. So it's not new, but, first game and the score lead is significant for Tatto. Tatto's got so much control, and it can't be the spot that he wanted to be in right now. Tatto having 8 fishing ships after Barles has gone for War Galley is just a bad thing for Barles at the moment.
But let's remind ourselves, Barles is accepting that the early game is not looking too great for him, right?
Yep.
He is just trying to force as many units out of Tatto, try to face an even game. If both are investing heavily into wood units, that is good for Barles.
Yep.
He is playing the 3TC, he is trying to stall time. Yeah, Tatto is increasing his advantage, but the gameplay still has to be. Tatto needs to think forward castle, map control. Some of the advantage has to come in late castle edge from him.
Okay, so I would say this anyways. Like, regardless of who the player was, I would be saying these words, okay? But considering what happened with TaToH's Barles in the recent 2v2 game, I have to bring this up. So you see where TaToH's king is right now? What if he like slightly misplaces a farm and tries to delete the farm? And then clicks the king and deletes his king. Oh my god!
Luckily, it's a not everyone misplaces their farm, Tristan.
Yeah, it's
I think
true.
maybe we should set that clear.
Okay, but what if he has to garrison at some point, puts his king in the TC, and forgets about it, and it goes forward or something? Like he uses that TC to garrison Vils and send Vils forward to build a castle, and the king goes into battle. Have I watched too many community games here, Nilly?
Yeah, and not too many community games of 2.7Ks.
Actually, quite a few with TaToH, to be completely honest.
True. Yeah.
But yeah. I like this from Barles and from TaToH. We've got Lightcav now from TaToH out and about to contest for the relics, but then Barles is just using his castle unit, the Woad Raider. Pretty speedy, solid base attack. This unit has been buffed multiple times. And Elite Woad is as much attack as a Paladin, which is pretty wild. And obviously not Elite here, but Monk goes down there for TaToH. Well played, Barles.
3 hits a Monk with the votes, so that's pretty sweet. Monk, the moment it loses the conversion, I think it has to run, yeah. Oh, this is ambitious by TaToH. This is ambitious. Can he get the relic?
Oh, man. I mean, Barles probably macroing at the moment. Will notice that the relic is gone, and TaToH's ambitious move there gives him reward. Well played. Interesting TC spots from TaToH here. He goes for TC number 4. He's going to TC that stone. Obviously, he gets the TC up, but it was quite a distance to walk there.
Yeah, but this is the main stone source that you will have. You have a smaller one in your home base. Can also go for the deer there eventually. And, well, we'll actually get raided. And without Loom, those villagers are pretty fragile.
Yep, TaToH actually doesn't have the gold in the bank for Loom right now, which is kind of funny. But he might prioritize it, or he'll just tell himself to pay slightly better attention here. I'm seeing quite a few Woads. I'm seeing quite a bit of stone being mined from Barles here. What do you think about using the Woad Raiders to take map control and actually taking the fight to the Chinese, building your castle in the middle and trying to force the Trebor? That could be pretty good too.
But then you have to play like 3 TCs, stop at 75 villagers, because Chinese will always be in front of you, right? They have the better economy.
Yep.
So somehow you have to cut some corners. So feels like a very risky move. Oh. And if you think you win the late game, why take that risk?
Yeah, that's fair. The Woad Raiders will kill a couple monks. I reacted because TaToH was chasing Woads. Oh, TaToH also gets a conversion on the full HP Woad. So TaToH had some good opportunities here. There's lots of weak Woad Raiders, and I guess there's no upgrades. And they are lacking speed compared to the Lightcav, and that has made a big difference here.
Ooh, can they get away? Low HP one in the back. Lightcav bugging out a bit. Gets a kill.
Yep. Yeah, so maybe, that stone is just to save up some of that stone for later for Barles. He is kind of running out of space within his base for even farms at this point. So he is going to make a 4 TC now in the south, similar to what TaToH did, but Chinese start with more villagers. They've got the cheaper techs. And TaToH's going to have more relics as well, potentially. Barles is actually going to think about a dock. Maybe to deny those 3 relics from going to TaToH. But TaToH already has a transport ship, already has a monk on the way. So it's going to start to ferry those relics across. Not fun to do this. Like, maybe it's a player thing. But that's a lot of clicks, right, to do compared to, your normal moves. But
TaToH's the guy that has the map 4 lakes, where you have only one single relic and have to do this in 4 different lakes.
Hey, first off, it's cross, Nilly. All right?
Oh, boy.
And you're spot on, yeah. I was surprised when people even got them, but in the end, it was very rare that people did.
Well, it's just such a painful thing.
It is very painful. I think I remember Vinchester, like, God, it was like a qualifier or something. Sorry, Vinch. I know he's watching your stream earlier, so he might be listening. I remember Vinch ended up with like 2 of them from the lakes or the ponds, the cross, and then just lost full map control in the middle because he was so focused. Oh man, Monk goes down there from Barles. Barles being very attentive there. That's really well played. It's definitely something I would have just given up on, and he doesn't want to.
And Barles will be on the way to him. honestly, this is not looking too bad for him. Won't get pressured too much. The question is, how good are votes? Maybe, just maybe, TaToH actually will struggle against mass votes and their mobility. Even. I always thought about onagers.
Look at the transport from TaToH. That's so sneaky. He transported Light Cav into the main eco. And those Light Cav don't end up making it through just yet. They might need to just go back. But that's creativity here from TaToH. But, to answer your question on Wodes, I don't think they're good here against Chukunu. I think a big ball of Chukunu is just so devastating. And going for Elite Wode Raider and Onager is probably too expensive. And you almost have to maybe bank on one or the other. I could see Barles going like full camp mode, like you said, into Siege Onager here.
Yeah. And it feels like he's already preparing some more siege workshops, is building some mangonels himself. I like that. Prepare some pikemen, but that shouldn't be high priority. It's just like, get him, click Onager.
Yep.
Get some traps out.
But then it's how do you protect those onagers, right? TaToH, his resources collected is ridiculous. He's got more relics right now. He has the ability to go for Light Cav and the Chukunu. TaToH coming forward with intent, though. He does feel as though if he doesn't stop the Celts from getting to Siege Onager, he could have problems. So that castle looks like a Trebor castle to me.
Oh, baby. Yeah, that's declaring war for sure. But Barles a bit earlier. Traps shoot faster. I think Barles needs to delete a bit more of those walls, though. Otherwise, it feels like the traps are guaranteed to bug out.
I don't know. The other thing, too, is with so little map control, he goes conscription in that castle every time, right? He doesn't go Treb. He does go Onager. Conscription's a great upgrade to get for the production of units, and he is going to go Pike. So probably like the Halb Onager combo that Barles is probably super familiar with from his Black Forest playing. Nice job. Barles did deny those relics from TaToH. If he could snag those two amongst everything else, it would be... I think there's supposed to be 7 on this map. Yeah, TaToH's going to get one more. So it would be 4-3. So it would still be pretty close.
Great wall, by the way, from TaToH. So
nice.
Those castles will have... No, those... That's only for walls and towers, right?
Towers and walls, correct. Not castles.
Okay, not castles. Okay.
It is...
a bit underwhelming.
I mean, it does affect the tower that now has the king in it. So that's the other thing too. Is like, if I know that it's mainly the dream of the casters and the viewers, but like, if this hits the phase where you realize you're probably not going to win this game, you've got less than 5%. Make it go for the king with Wodes. They're so fast. Maybe you could make it happen. Who knows?
Well, sniping the king when it looks like you're losing. That sounds like a good strategy, Tristan. I think I would try that in a tournament once.
Haven't you done it twice, actually, Nilly?
Sounds like me.
All right. Nilly, by the way, people, Nilly said, Tristan, I'd love to cast NAC 5 qualifiers with you, but you need to bring up the following point.
At some point, I will get players to play Regicide, and then I have 3 tournament achievements over the 24 years that I'm playing this game. Let's bring up the one set where I won against Stout, the last qualifier against MBL, and the one time I killed a king.
Yeah, and then don't bring up our return of reverse pick set.
That never happened. Yeah, we're not looking at Acropolis. No Slavs against Gujarat matchup.
Oh man, yeah. Nilly doesn't actually think this map is good at all. He just did it for the talking points. But Onager is here, and they do fire extremely quick. And yes, that TaToH's got the Light Cav, but he's going to snipe one Onager, and he loses 10 units to do so. So, those trades you can get away with for now, but this could get out of hand. TaToH lost his castle. TaToH's Trebs are exposed, and siege workshops from TaToH, where he's also going Onager. He will lose those. So, Barles is making some level of progress here.
And Chinese, I'm not even sure. Do they get siege engineers? I don't think so, right?
I don't think they do. And that's already in for Barles. So that obviously helps. And, TaToH's got this double castle stack. It feels like if Barles pushes that, he drops his own castle there, controls both those golds, and then Siege Onager is an easy possibility. I think he might click it before, but you could make many, many Siege Onagers then.
Look at the resources for him already. That's pretty sick. Only 2 onagers on the field, and now he clicks it. That is sick.
TaToH's going to try and use what areas he can here, it seems like. He used his fire ships to take out part of that wall from the shoreline. And he's just going to, at the very least, try and distract Barles. And you can tell, like, this is, as we see, beautiful split micro from TaToH. My goodness. That, in my opinion there, Nearly, is the product of that raid on the side. TaToH distracts Barles for a second. Barles' halbs are out of position. And Barles loses, what, 4 onagers there and doesn't kill a single Chukunu.
That is really, really impressive for sure. Now we only have 1 single onager out on the map, and you said it earlier, like, do we see a small amount of onagers and Chukunu can out-micro them? And I said, no, Barles, he will always wait for big numbers. But if you keep the numbers low at all times, the Chukunu is just increasing in value so much.
Yep, and this is also very cheap for TaToH compared to Barles. But don't worry, Celt fans. Barles is not even in final form yet. He's getting Pure Celtica now. So he'll have extra HP on his onagers, and then also Siege Onager is 30 seconds away.
It's pretty sick. Fletching now, so his castles become a bit better. Oh, look at that, and Barles now even tries to rewall. Builds another castle there, does not want to get raided. Oh man, he's feeling the heat. And TaToH, obviously he might be on a timer in his head, knowing like, okay, I need to keep up the pressure.
Yeah. Such a good job. It's just, I think TaToH's going to try to do more of the same. Use that left-hand side. Barles doesn't want to have to deal with that. But Barles did lose a castle there. You look at the other castle he's building in his base now. That is a castle of a worried man. And he still has yet to really get a push going. TaToH, though, is up against Fury Celtica Siege Onagers now, and this will change everything.
Oh man, and those are not really dying anymore. Look at that. All the light cap, they have to invest so much. And Ballistic is only now coming in. But those, look at that. He saves the SO maybe.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, so this is now the point. You need 4 to 5 Trebs, 4 to 5 Onagers, the rest Halb. That's what you aim for. That's the ratio. You don't need to overmake Siege Onagers. You just need to have that number and the Trebs, obviously, for the castles. But this is like maybe the first straight-up engagement without any distractions that they'll be taking. Because TaToH has run out of ideas on the side. And here comes Barles.
By the way, quick fun fact from AoE history line. Age of Empires, when the game came out, and how we played it for the first 16 years or something, Onager and SO shots were flying slower when you research chemistry.
Yep.
So people never clicked chemistry when they went for SO.
The experienced people didn't do it. I remember getting yelled at in the Black Forest game. Why did I get chemistry? And I'm like, why not? That obviously has been changed. And, oh man, TaToH, ring around the rosy there with the light cav and continues to still somehow find an answer with his own onagers, the light cav and the Chukunu combined.
And with all the map control, he's obviously getting the 2 neutral goals here, right? Relic still up for grabs at the bottom. And Barles, he does not have endless amount of gold. How much does he have left? 2,100 exposed. Some at home. 2,600. That's it.
That's
and
it.
1 relic.
Yeah, that is it. And that's going to go away really quickly. Like his Trebs just went down. So he needs to sink another 800 minimum into the Trebs. So maybe, I don't think we're exaggerating to say 1 more real attempt from Barles with this composition before he just completely runs dry.
Can he go for those relics somehow?
Good luck thinking about it, right? Especially now TaToH's going to reposition here and try and go for the castle. I think you just kind of have to let that one go down, honestly. You can't repair there. Maybe he will feel he has to.
Elite Chukunu.
Wow, so he didn't have Rocketry or Elite Chukunu, and the Chukunus were being that effective. That's impressive.
Yeah. Well, one of the best counters against halberdiers that we have in the game, so makes a lot of sense. Now Bomber Towers being added as well. TaToH sits on a reasonable amount of stone. Halberdiers a bit out of position. Light cover coming in, but not against those ground attacks.
Yeah, but you're still looking at food against really costly gold units, and TaToH will take that. The light cav won't be happy about it, but he gets the job done there, and that's just more siege onagers that Barles is going to have to make. Barles lost his castle now, and Bombard Tower is actually a great choice here. You wouldn't normally associate that with TaToH, but great recognition of the situation here. Very, very good thing to add on the map to stall this out.
Oh, light calf again, diving. And now the onagers of TaToH becoming really efficient. All of a sudden, they are shooting at the harps here. And every single SO he gets is good.
Yep. And he's doing it. And he didn't spend the resources on Fear Celtica or on Siege Onager, right? Still banking more res, still has access to more gold. The Halbs getting pulled into the wrong positions. Big Siege Onager, though. Big Siege Onager ball here from Barles. The Trebs and the Chukunu need to get out of here and wait for some light calf support. Finally, Barles finds some good engagements on, like, expensive units from TaToH, but still does feel like TaToH's in a nice spot. TaToH has light calf very close to that king right now, but the Barles actually pre-walled it in. That's funny.
We have guilds now, so Barles could sell some of his wood to get to reasonable numbers again. Also, if he was to push more through the center, he could get access to that gold, but TaToH has still enough production next to it.
Man, I guess, like, earlier when we said make it go for the king, that would be if he had elite woad. There's no way that he could use Halbs and Siege Onager to YOLO for a king snipe here. Which is unfortunate for Barles, because he's got this last chance here. And the difference between now and before is he's got 9 Siege Onagers now. It was around 5 before, so maybe with a few more of them, they can pack a bit more of a punch. TaToH's Onager micro has been really good, though, finding decent enough engagements, but he does need 2 hits with his Onagers to kill 1 of Barles' Onagers.
But with all the gold access that TaToH has, right, still the relic control plus the extra 2 gold spots, if he keeps on trading 2 Onagers against 1 Onage SO, that is okay for him now.
Yep, that's fair. We'll say, though, Barles will know. This is it for me. We've got to make this happen. What a start to the series it would be. Especially countering Chinese, the civilization that people feel is one of the best civs across basically any map. Obviously, lots of hybrid maps that wouldn't be the case on, but the extra Onager is paying off here for Barles. TaToH desperately repairing a castle, and he's going to lose that castle here.
I'm scared for TaToH all of a sudden. Goes for the big splits. Barles takes the population lead. Celts in late Imperial Age. One of the best civilizations we have in this game.
And Chukunu, numbers not that high, so the Halbs can actually close in on all the units here. The Lycav, the Onagers, the Trebs, everything can die to Halb. Barles has more on the way. He still has his Trebs. And there's a lot of gold here that Barles really needs. The Trebs going down now. TaToH just now adding Bombard Towers. I feel like a couple Bombard Towers in front of that castle would have been really nice. Barles, this is why he picked the Celts, Nilly. This is what you talked about back in the Dark Age. Barles felt if he could get here, despite all the other bonuses that the Celts lack, might not be able to be stopped, but he does have Trebs exposed on the right. TaToH could maybe get some kills there, but Barles will take out TaToH's castle.
Man, what a good game to start us off. But those 3 traps are really exposed. Onagers are committing to it. 1 down, but does he get a second one? Seems like yes. Castle down. Both heavily losing population.
That was TaToH's nearby Chukunu production right there. So if he loses another group of Chukunu, the Halbs are going to be extremely effective against everything else. He is making more castles, or 1 more castle, sorry, but he only will have 2 then to produce Chukunu. That's a really big deal.
It's another castle further to the right. 2 traps only for Barles. Maybe focus down. The Bombard Tower could be an option. Not too many Harmonies, but the ground attacks are good.
Yeah, ground attacks are good. Moving from the Onagers is good. And Barles, does he see that castle right now? He does. He also sees that gold. He's actually going to TC it, which I think is great. Instead of just building the mining camp.
4,000 gold. 4,000 gold in this middle area. It's a lot of SO.
And TaToH's invested gold and stone in the Bomber Towers, which have offered very little for him. And TaToH just making inferior Onagers. TaToH can't make a go for the King Snipe because the King was walled in, which is super smart thinking from Barles. He is trying to ram push, but it's just a tiny little ram push. I don't know why the Onager's not attacking there. But I think
it did kill some before.
Yeah. I saw that in Warlords as well, where Manganella just wasn't attacking things. So I don't know if it's a player thing, but it's a different player now. I don't trust this patch too much. So,
Oh, Chukunu in danger. Barles KD really solid. Even with all the Harbidiers that he's building, but now the exposed again. Harbidier's a bit out of position.
Yeah, and first time in a while, TaToH's going to be able to kill some siege onagers. I feel like right there, in that moment, if TaToH had 1 or 2 of his own onagers behind, that's the ideal, right? You close in with Lycav, and then you pop out with the onagers behind. Let's see if he tries it here. He might actually run past. He might just say just passing into the farming eco from Barles.
Not impossible, but he will run into 2 castles first, and those now have fletching and ballistics. So, quite some light cav losses.
Barles is distracted, though. He does lose some siege onagers, but at the same time killed Chukunu and Lycav, and he's pushing down TaToH's buildings. Oh, man, this is nuts. This is a crazy game. There's so much happening. TaToH with onagers on the left here. Surprised Barles. There's like 4 or 5 different spots that Barles is looking at right now he never wanted to deal with. The walls in his base, prompting him to get fortified wall. The onagers on the left. The Lycav in his base, too. TaToH's everywhere.
Treadmill crane being researched by Barles. What are we witnessing?
Yeah, what's he going to build faster? The lumber camps? TaToH is actually paying attention to the wood. Nilly, we didn't think about wood.
Maybe he tries to cut...
Cut through
the... At one point?
Cut the trees.
On the other side.
Yeah. I mean, he just checked. There's not a lot of wood for Barles in the south remaining, so... With so much wood being spent, I could see wood actually becoming a factor this game.
He has 9,000 roughly. He has some forest still at home in the center. Yeah. Like, I would say like 12, 13,000 is a success right now, but with how much he's burning through wood...
Yep.
That's only 10 minutes.
I will say, TaToH, he's doing a lot of things on the sides. That's great. But it should still be to set up the middle, right? He still has to defend the middle, especially when his king is in a tower very close by. Easy to forget in these moments. If you're someone that's not named Nilly, it is easy to forget about kings in Regicide games at this level.
Thank you. Huh?
Sorry, just trying to make sure you keep me around for the second game.
I thought for the main event. Okay.
Onager, not really protected by as many halbs in the middle, I'm noticing, for Barles as he deals with the raids. TaToH has found villager kills. TaToH even has Chukunu in the back right now. This is...
Look at the cut. Look at the cut for TaToH. That's sick. Barles is struggling for population. 140 for him.
Wow. But Barles is building a castle with intent in this middle area. If this goes up, this could be huge. TaToH's onager doesn't fire there. TaToH doesn't have a lot of gold income, Nilly. This is crazy. He doesn't have the gold.
With the Chukunu. What is this madness? TaToH is making this game incredibly wild right now.
Yeah, he's got to run with that king, Nilly. The Trebs are going to see it soon, dude. Those Trebs, well, they'll go for the castle first, but like, if you look at the vision for Barles, it is super close to seeing a tower with a flag on it. And Barles walled in his own king preemptively, so he put a little bit more thought into it. I could see him reacting to it.
NSO shot should kill the king? I think so.
Yeah. One hit would kill it. Yep. Yeah. But like also, if TaToH's not paying attention there, because he's microing everywhere else, that king could die to halbs. Okay, now the tower just fired on the halbs. Does Barles... Oh, the king's moving. Okay. Just to another tower.
TaToH pop limit, basically.
Yeah.
Just needs 2 more houses, and Barles at 130. Like, it feels like Barles is pushing, but military count is 17 for him.
Yeah, it is crazy. But what an important castle he just placed. That castle, if it wasn't there, he would definitely lose this position. But TaToH's Lycav number, he's got 80 more in the queue. He's tossing them away, and because the halb number's so low, he snipes the siege onager, and Barles is just really struggling economically because of TaToH's focus elsewhere. The walls from Barles getting denied by Chukunu on the right side now. And TaToH's even bringing a Treb that way to push those castles, maybe.
I think Barles needed some onagers at the bottom, right? He's still not dealing with those Chukunu.
Yeah.
And obviously with the forward castle, Barles Halberdiers are healing there now. So, like, he can just constantly start raiding from there.
Yeah, true. Stronghold tech coming in clutch. It's so tricky, right? Because what do you always say with like a snowball push? Do not allow yourself to lose focus on the push. Do not let the distractions do enough to you where you no longer focus there. And I think that's been part of it for Barles. But TaToH has done a lot more than the average player here. Cutting the trees, Chukunu, and Light Cav. Like, look, Siege Honor died in the south right there, nearly. Because the Light Cav were there to protect the Chukunu. That's ridiculous. And now TaToH goes in for the Treb. 2 Trebs, sorry, underneath Barles' castle in the middle. Wow, what a play from TaToH.
No repair. The villagers there just chilling, shooting some arrows out of the castle. That's it. But enough gold for Barl. So technically, wood is just the major issue. It's crazy how this map is shaping up.
Yeah, TaToH needs to defend from halbs in his farms right now. We'll see if that happens. TaToH is also killing villagers on that gold area in the middle from Barles. Again, wood. Like, TaToH chopped some of this wood. Or like, used onagers to onage the wood. But he's also chopping some of this wood. Like, the majority of the lumberjacks are right here in this area in the middle. TaToH's got some in the back, though, which Barles, he does too, but he hasn't really had access to it. Look at TaToH in the south. Is he going to build a sneak lumber camp, or what?
You built a siege workshop earlier. It just outposts. I think he just wants to get a better idea on where to raid.
Yeah. Sneaky ram push on the king is unlikely. Oh, Bombard Tower. This is the most excited I've been about Bombard Towers for TaToH this whole game. On that wood line. That is a really good spot for it. And Barles isn't pushing anymore, nearly. His pop is way higher than it was before when he was pushing in the middle, ironically. But, like, his pop is so incredibly low. I think it's just because... Or, sorry, his pop is high, but his unit positioning is poor because TaToH's pulled him into so many different spots.
Yeah, like, idle military count has to be crazy for him, right? He was forced into so many defensive areas. Halberdiers just randomly patrolling around. But he is getting the center. And TaToH, Chinese, well, we managed it from the very start. Economy is crazy. Map control is crazy. We have all the advantages in the opening. But if we get to the Dream Army composition, Chinese not really having the options. And I was a bit surprised by TaToH's choice here, because we have moved more and more away from Chinese on Regicide Fortress as well.
Nilly, TaToH's going to go for that king. And Barles spots that. Barles saw the siege workshop. And Barles is running with the king. Dang, that's so good. TaToH's definitely building up towards that.
It looked like it, right? How he's moving in, how he kept the Chukunu there.
Yep.
How did Barl see that? Does he have an idea? Okay.
He caught a glimpse of it at one point, and he didn't see the Chukunu standing there, but he did see the siege workshop. And look at this now at the trees. TaToH's Light Cav go in for the siege onagers. And he's killed a lot of villagers. TaToH's killed 160 villagers in this game. He's going into skirms now, too. And if Barles could continue to make siege onagers, the skirms are going to do way worse than the Chukunu did. And even the Chukunu haven't been enough here.
Yeah. That wasn't the best showing of the skirmishes coming in there and trying to get the name on the map.
And Barles should be fine. TaToH shows up. TaToH's like, wait a second. There used to be a tower here. Oh, no, he noticed me. But the siege ram tech will mean the walls go down pretty quickly. And will mean that eco in there is also disrupted. So TaToH's got multiple positions to be able to disrupt the eco from Barles. But Barles is the one dominating what's left of the gold. There's like 300 gold left. And then what's left of this chunk of wood in the middle.
This is not an easy army to clear up for Barles. He needs an Halberdier SO mix to deal with this.
That's true. Yep.
Has an SO patrolling at home, though, so shouldn't be the biggest of problems.
Yeah, just leave that there. Don't move out with it. That's probably the play. TaToH kills a Treb from Barles now. There's 80 halbs on the field, Nilly. 80. That is a lot of halberdiers. I don't know, like... This game is... Maybe it already has been, but this game is 3 times as hard for TaToH with that many halbs on the field.
Yeah, like you have to be so careful. It just feels like not watching your range units for a small moment means like 30 Chukunu and now 30 skirmishes could be instantly.
No way TaToH's going to kill that siege onager. No way. TaToH goes in with the Light Cav, doesn't get it. Barles repaired that. What great attentiveness from both players there in the main eco of Barles. Or what used to be the main eco. And now TaToH's getting raided by halbs. TaToH kills the siege on it. I mean, Nilly, it's really hard to even talk about here with how much is happening and where these guys are right now on the map.
Oh man, and that is a sick win for Barles. He could be so happy with this. This was also one of his later picks, specifically for this map, and it just feels like he was patient enough, and the strategies there, trying to delay TaToH, worked out brilliantly for him.
I'm still, like, if TaToH can still take out the siege onagers, Barles can't make more with one relic.
Oh, true.
So Barles is out of gold, right? It's only skirms, only halbs, but TaToH's got a ton of skirms. So I think the relics is a really big deal, and I wonder if TaToH's going to try and get more of them. But, like, what do you make with the Celts if you're out of gold? You make halbs, and you pray.
Technically, you have hussars, and he's now teching into husbandry. Doesn't have any armor upgrades, though.
Okay, yep. Yeah, you do have hussar. Maybe you go hussar. You already have the attack upgrades. We see, husbandry. I do feel like he's not going to have the gold for the hussar tech, though. It'll probably just be light cav.
King is running again. The tower was being attacked. TaToH opened the walls. And is now sending the king
into the
town center.
Both players have had to flee with their king multiple times here. Yeah, you're right. Barles was going for that with intent. There's the tower is on fire for a reason. I don't know how much Great Wall paid off there. Someone could maybe tell me how much a watchtower normally has. I guess we could look in the base of Barles. And there's a big HP difference on those towers.
TaToH has masonry, though.
Yeah, and architecture as well, I think he got, so.
Barles has only masonry.
Yep. Barles is losing pop like crazy. Barles is down to 110 pop. He's completely run out of res here. The skirms and the light cav and the rams can do it.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, are you kidding me? Is it really the 4 against 1 relic?
I think it's
so
that.
much more gold generated.
I think it's that, and TaToH, while he's lost more units, has always had more throwaway units. He has not lost valuable units. Chukanu, I guess, the most valuable unit he's lost. I guess the Onager and the Treps, but Barles does not have trees anymore. He does, actually. He does have it available right outside his starting walls. But if he starts to try and stabilize at 80 pop, that's not going to cut it.
I don't think stabilizing at 80 pop is typically the winning condition in a late game scenario. Oh, and those SO might fall as well, and he can't really replace them. We are down to 74 population. Barles calls the GG. What did TaToH just do in this game?
I mean, TaToH had to figure out ways to take Barles out of his element. He had to fight in areas that Barles was not able to address because of how slow the siege halb comp was. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the different areas that TaToH pressured this game. He won water in both areas, right? He then pressured the walls, forcing more walls at Barles' base on two different sides. Right? There was also, like, of course, the fights and whatnot in the middle. You also had, like, buildings and raids in the very south of the map. You had the onager cutting with the wood. It's like, there was not a single area this map that TaToH was not pressuring. And the beauty of it is that half of that is TaToH is applying enough pressure in another location where Barles has to address it, and thus he gets pulled out of position or can't micro the main push. That was just like maybe a masterclass in having worse army, but being able to control the map using mobility there. That was so good.
I'm really impressed. And how, like, I thought this was an unwinnable scenario. Mass SO, mass halberdier.
Yeah.
Just like keeping calm there. Like, I honestly, if I'm in TaToH's shoes and I lose the control over those 2 gold spots, I would not have believed anymore.
Yeah, agreed. And then you're just like, you know, you don't think to try again in all these different areas. Like, when TaToH snuck the villagers in the south and he made the siege workshop in the stable, and then it was spotted, I'm just like, okay, well, he's not going to kill the king. But he got value from that, right? He did a lot of stuff with just those buildings being there. It's just so good from TaToH. And, you know, the unfortunate thing for Barles is, dude, you played amazing this qualifier, but you're up against the Tiger, man. You're up against TaToH. Like, this dude's a beast, and there's a reason why people put him in the top 5 right now, and why almost everyone would have favored him coming into this qualifier. Obviously, you don't want to get too bent out of shape. I think Barles also played a really good game, but Man, oh man, Barles would have loved that one. A late pick to beat Chinese on a Regicide Fortress-style map would have been beautiful. That was his plan. He's going to have to plan more. So, game 2, and Barles, he had very confident picks. Normally when you think, underdog picks, they're going to go for like the more maybe strategic maps, the slower maps. But the thing is, Barles is good on closed maps, and he's also good on open maps. That's what makes this player so good. All the best players have to have that quality. Barles has that. And he goes for the Magyars here on Arabia to try and tie things up here. And TaToH's gone for the Aztecs, who, 5 years ago, nearly, I would say is the more traditional pick. But these days, for an open map Arabia, I think Magyars about on par with the Aztecs in terms of pick rate.
Yeah, even more open would mean even more leaning towards Magyars. Something like Droid Graveyards that we have in the map pool, right? That feels a bit the same, but is tougher to wall. As you can see, TaToH is already thinking about some walls here with the 2 houses that he's building towards the side. And Aztecs obviously is struggling with the increase for the Eagle cost from 20 to 25. Basically their go-to unit.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think like that composition where Aztecs tend to look almost unstoppable is Pike Monk or like depending on the situation, Eagle Pike Monk. That would be the trio. You make ranged units, the Eagles are there for that. You make Knights, the Pikes are there for that. And then obviously the Monks heal, pick up relics, and do all that fancy stuff. But like getting there is definitely harder, I think, Nili. Like I, for example, really struggle with Mezzo. I feel like the scout players always have a bit of an edge with control, and like you know what it is? I feel like if the scout player plays perfectly, you get the big trouble. But you almost have to wait for their mistakes, and we'll see if Barles makes mistakes here. But no militia from TaToH. Players really don't have a ton of faith in militia right now. It's more so just getting to feudal age and choosing what army to make from there.
Yeah, especially against Magyars, right? What are the militia doing? Like, you are arriving, and the opponent can build super cheap scouts, spearmen that are stronger, and you always get cleared up, and you're not really gaining too much because they are likely to play a lower population than you with your pop 20 as Aztecs.
Yep, both players just scouting each other now. So I think neither player expected any Dark Age shenanigans, pushed in as many deer as they could. Map is pretty good for both players, I would say. The way Barles is building up is definitely to defend more for like his farming eco, but the wood lines are there to protect the gold. And ooh, Eagle actually delays the stable here. Well done there from TaToH. That's really annoying.
It's funny how Barles even shift clicked, so those villagers were like, oh, I can't build here, okay, my job is done.
But villager kill already from that starting scout. Well played, Barles. That was villager building the barracks there. TaToH was just building it with one villager. And both players try something with their starting scout. And surprise, surprise, the scout with the free forging upgrade makes the damage, gets the damage done. The scout also gets away. The scout also can provide excellent scouting intel. So sometimes you'll see instances where players will not dive with their scout there, because if they lose it and don't get the villager kill, or even if they lose it and get the villager kill, they feel very uncomfortable. But this is fine, I think.
And now we can confirm everything. And obviously with Magyars, it's way easier and more on the guaranteed side that you will get the kill. And now Barles, this first scout, will get a kill against the Eagle as well. Really solid opening here for our pool.
Yeah. And interesting walls, right? Like this is low risk walling. He clearly wants to use army to protect the map, which I think is like, I know it's a war game, but you know, it's so easy to sometimes fall into the trap of walling to protect everything. And he's like, I gotta go for low investment on walls, make sure my eco is really smooth and my villagers are working on resources. And then if I want that gold, I have to earn it, right? I have to have army to protect that area.
For me, like, you can't say it's a war game and I can't hear MBL screaming after we heard all the laming discussion. Oh, should laming be allowed or not? It's a war game!
Yep, that's what I hope, right? I hope when I say that everyone thinks of MBL. This is true, but MBL is also a massive waller, so it's like... I mean, he does make a lot of army, right? But
War is allowed to start after he has 4 skirmishes, 6 pikemen, and is fully walled.
Yeah, that's true. And it switches into scouts while he's on his way to Castle Age. All right, so Tatto, it hasn't been the best of starts, but he's got this awkward little combination here. And I think he will actually, from what he's seen, be able to know how Barles is walling. He saw the palisade next to the house. He saw the build-up with everything else. So he's going to try and click towards that gold now, because that would be the area that Barles needs to control. And while Barles is adding extra walls, Tatto should be able to go around there. And this might be the time Barles considers a mining camp. He doesn't see this. I will say Barles has done a poor job at tracking what Tatto's doing. Maybe he doesn't think that Tatto's gone out here because he sees the flag on the archer range.
That's a bit weird, right? Shift-click the villager around there, and that will be a dead one. He's trying to buy himself some time by clicking her away, but that's obviously going to be a dead one.
Yeah, and Tatto will like that. And we said maybe sometimes the scout players need to make some mistakes. That's maybe the first one. And Barles now is going to go to the other gold. But the walls that he placed already, we're not counting on him taking this gold. If he was like the Armenians that have the mule cart, where you could just go from one gold to the other, this would be fine. But that is pretty exposed, so there's something to point out here.
How much damage can those scouts find? 2 spearmen around, now taking the big engagement.
Yeah, takes the engagement, and the spearmen will go down. And Tatto won't get his walls up, and that's a villager that should die for Tatto. That, having said that, he does pull back very nicely. In the end, like, I think Tatto's kind of okay with that, because it bought him a little bit more time. He kills another scout, so what was that? 2 spear dead for 3 scouts? I think against Magyars...
I think it was 7 scouts running in there.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think this was too bad for Tatto.
Yeah. And Tatto sits on the gold now. I wonder if Tatto has army to now send to the other gold, or does he not? Oh, he doesn't. He hasn't seen the other gold, funnily enough. So he might assume that Barles is not on gold. But this is like, this is where it's so tricky. I think if you're up against an archer civ, Barles would have already gone skirmishers, but because you're up against Aztecs that can mix in eagles, players are really resistant to the idea of making skirms. And so he's just kind of stayed on scouts here, and Tatto has quite a few spears, 5 spears on the map even, which should be able to do pretty well if they engage against the scouts.
Yeah, so it did not underproduce those, obviously lost some spearmen already, and it feels like the run to Castle Age might be slightly better for Barles, but I don't see him arriving with a crazy army that could be very threatening.
Yeah, well, he still has the scouts. He's still forcing some reactions from Tatto. Gets the spearmen. We'll probably lose 2 more scouts, though. Maybe 3. In the end, maybe it's reached that phase of not ideal, and he'll take any even engagement he could take. 8-8 on the KD here. Barles not using the market. Good eco will click up.
TaToH just rechecked the gold. Like he is so convinced that Barles is not on gold.
It's funny, he doesn't see any of the other golds. Like the other 4-tile gold, you would think he would have ran past that. But he never ran past that one either. And obviously Barles wouldn't take that. And Barles scouts. We'll find another Vil kill.
Oh, nice.
Very well played.
Yeah, and TaToH, he's convinced that Barles wants to go for this gold, right? Otherwise, why would Barles have made those late walls?
He's going to check, though. He's going to check. He's going to go the other way with the new army. That's part of why TaToH just lost that Vil, is because he's doesn't want to use his army to defend. And TaToH's going to have a 7 taunt moment here when he sees that gold. Only he loses an archer. He loses some HP. Scouts can probably deal with that, and I really like the position for Barles right now.
Not too shabby at all. TaToH still idle villagers here. The economy not too smooth for him. Those scouts still around. Can they maybe get any low HP villager? I would be surprised.
Oh, TaToH dives underneath the TC trying to catch Barles out, and Barles noticed with a house and a garrison. We've seen a lot of players over the years get caught out with that, but now the spearmen have died. Of all the things to lose when your opponent has scouts, losing those spearmen could be a big problem.
And this will be an easy clear up now.
Wow.
How many light cav do we need? Maybe even he jumps with 2 scouts? Oh, I think he could have just waited for bloodlines. Oh,
yeah, but Tatto
right
clicked the barracks. Yeah. So Tatto realizes way too late. That'll get cleared up. Barles now doesn't need to take this other gold, which Tatto dove under. I think that's worth a rewatch, Nilly. I will highlight it for later. I'm really curious. I think Tatto dove under the tower, and when he saw the garrison, simultaneously dove the TC.
Oh, okay.
It feels like it was at the same time, because I didn't see the villager die underneath the tower. So that's amazing from Barles to have reacted in both areas there. Very impressive.
Great reaction here by Barles. 4 light cav out now. Goes for husbandry. Second stable. Bought himself 100 stone, so could build a town center here. Is doing it next to the gold. Nice transition. And TaToH is out there again. Is taking pikemen already.
Yeah, pikemen. So what would feel natural to me is cav archer here. And Barles in TTL, he loved cav archers on Spiral, thank you, yes. He loved the cav archers with Magyars. He played really well. But, you know, the eco setup, especially having some exposed golds, it felt a little bit more natural here to spend your wood on the TC first. And he already committed to the second stable. So it will be light cav, and it will be knights against pikemen. But, you know, just like we saw with the spears, the scouts are still faster. So Barles could still choose when to take the engagements.
Monastery at home, but TaToH not having a lot of map control to really get to those relics. This will be TaToH on 1TC for quite some time. This raiding group might delay the farms a bit, might be a bit annoying, but shouldn't achieve too much. And if you're not going CA, is Scorpion an option?
I think it's definitely an option. But players are super resistant to spend their wood on that right now, right? They want to farm. So, I guess the timing there is tricky. I feel like TaToH's got an army number problem, right? These poor engagements have really added up. He's only got 3 pikemen on the front. The 3 Magyar knights could probably deal with this without losing a single knight if Barles micros properly. And Barles does save the villager. And TaToH, he's now got an eagle and 3 pikes there. That is not what he would have wanted for a counterattack.
Yeah, and just clearing up the archers means the knights don't need to engage.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
He can just run away.
Yep.
He's building the monastery at the front as well, so can always heal up. Nice moves here with the light cav, trying to snipe some monks, or at least like putting the threat into the head. And TaToH doubles down monastery now. Is this a 1TC play? I wouldn't be surprised if TaToH now sends villagers forward to go for a siege workshop.
Yeah. But like I'm concerned that maybe he can't get the position for the siege yet, right? Nice micro from Barles clears up everything. TaToH's still only on 4 pikemen. So, like, those eagles in there, this does feel like a natural part of the Aztec play to mix up, but eagles will not be very effective. No second armor for TaToH. No attack upgrade. Barles looking really strong here, and remember, he's on 2 TCs. So, 2 TCs, good eco setup. Let's see, there's the villagers coming forward, or will eventually, to build that workshop, Nilly. It's a good spot for it. But if Barles can clear out a monk or 2, he might be able to find a decent engagement soon.
Let's take a look at the zoning here. Pikeman against those light cav, dives for the monk, gets one conversion, gets a monk. Okay for TaToH.
It's crazy though, right? An Aztec economy is really strong when you've got 50 or so villagers. This is without wheelbarrow. The production of their military units is insane. And Barles found a moment there, but a bit similar to in the previous game where it felt like it was so difficult for TaToH to engage against Siege Onager Halb. I feel like it becomes much more difficult for Barles to find the proper engagements against this type of composition.
And now we might be controlling 2 of the gold spots, right? And the other one is running out the quickest, obviously, right? Yeah. We have 2,100 gold left there. And if he pushes that TC away and the Mangalots are taking over this area, that might be a big problem for Barles.
Ooh, TaToH's really paranoid about the light cav trying to kill his other monks, so he doesn't have all of his pikes in position. And Barles is going to stop the siege workshop. No, he isn't. But I think the knights could take really good engagements against the pikes. I think that's actually a really good engagement for Barles.
And now the eagles are diving, but that's not a lot of villagers at the bottom. One quick wall, and he might save most of his villagers on the wood line. That's indeed what it looks like. And TaToH, that is a move that might take a lot of steam out of his push.
Yeah, but what this does do, the Eagles, while you will take losses, it actually finds villager kills, and it allows TaToH to move right forward again, back to the siege workshop, which already has siege out of it. More monks, more pikes. The Eagles we knew weren't a big part of the success chances for Barles in the main push. And TaToH, even though he's only on 1 TC for now, he's building the second. He's 5 villagers behind, which is not a lot. He's got 2 relics, which is bringing in lots more gold with Aztecs. So, good game here. TaToH's got a real death ball rolling here.
This will be interesting. Outpost would be really good for him now, because he has no idea where the army is moving. Like, he basically has one army at the front, and now is trying to get some reinforcements in. But this will be really good for Barles if he can take a fight.
Yeah, Barles is played this near perfect, in my opinion, with his positioning of the light cav, killing the monks, trying to avoid the death ball. Actually, again, very similar. I know the armies are very different, but very similar to what TaToH was doing to him in the previous game. Oh, man. I mean, I like what we're seeing from Barles. His own siege. And TaToH, back to your outpost discussion. Does he know about that? He does know the siege workshop's up, but he doesn't micro in time. Barles with another opportunity. Gets another hit. It looked direct to me. But Barles, beautiful defense.
Dick, how did he not take damage there with his mangonel? And yeah, that first direct hit was towards the monk, not the mangonel.
And then on the hill here, Barles, and then the light cav see a monk as well. And what are these fights for Barles this game? The KD 2-1. Beautiful unit control for Barles.
That's so sick. That's so sick.
Oh god, except for the mangonel in the back of his base. He's losing a mangonel to a pikeman. Oh, that hurts.
Now expands further to the top. Gold control might be the issue eventually. And those knights, still crazy amount of HP on those.
Can you tell me the resources destroyed here? I know that's on your overlay.
It's 4.7 for Barles and 2.4 for TaToH. So roughly double for Barles.
Yep, makes sense then. This is one of those spots, though, where it's still like, we've said it so many times over the years, it's still Aztecs. And you still need to engage that main death ball. And Barles is going to try now. He hops out with Light Cav and a Knight to kill monks. He actually kills 2 of them, which I think you'll take for that loss.
3! Right? I think he even killed another monk.
I looked to the other army where he was clearing up more pikemen and might have missed it. I'll trust you on that. 81 villagers for Barles. He's got 3 town centers.
It's a lot of time to snipe those mangonels.
Oh, TaToH converted both stables. Holy crap. Holy crap. He could...
How many stables? A full CA switch. He's moving away from the stables.
Yeah,
no more knights from him. No more light cav.
Do you try and go for defensive castle here? There's your answer.
Stone.
Castle for Barles. So he's still going to hope to try and use siege to defend from his starting TC. I would say that this castle's not an ideal castle spot, but it's a safe castle spot. Well, safe-ish. It's still going to take some losses here.
Well, it secures the stone for himself and kind of protects the gold as well against melee units.
Yep.
So I don't mind it.
Yep. What a great game. These guys are so good. Again, reminder, stating the obvious, but this is the qualify for NAC 5, early January, Berlin, LAN event. TaToH's been there every NAC, I believe, Nilly, since the start.
Correct.
And I don't know if he's ever made as a lotto while there, because he's making them here in the decider.
Oh, he has one.
Yep, he lost one underneath the TC, and he's got one here. You cannot build stables with the Aztecs, but if you convert them, you can make this unit. And it's like a knight, but very weak and kind of a meme, but effective at raiding. And TaToH's converted the siege. He continues this push. Barles doesn't have a big cav archer mass yet, Nilly.
Yeah, and how do you get your cav archer mass? He has 0 on gold right now, but he's getting raids in.
Yeah, and he is, because of the castle, able to take that gold again on the right. He's kept this knight army active. TaToH needs to defend from that with more pikemen and more monks while not leaving the forward push. Barles, oh, he might regret this engagement. He didn't know there were that many monks behind. And wow, he's actually able to get out of here without losing too much more.
Yeah, one conversion is totally fine for him. But what's not totally fine for him is that he has the switch into 5 archery ranges. And so far he built 6 CA.
Yeah, it's just like, he is going to find some neutral gold in the north that he could maybe take, but it's just the lack of gold. And Tatto, even back in Feudal Age, was looking at this gold, and he was probably speaking to it like, you will be mine. All right, gold, I will be back for you later. And, I mean, you feel for Barles here, because he's played so incredibly well, 2-1 KD. But Tatto has always had consistent army production, and that's been the difference. When you're going Knights and Light Cav, if you take any hits in your eco, you just can't produce again. And with Cav Archers, obviously you need the gold, and... Oh man, big move there from Barles. Deletes his Siege Workshop, also hops out. Does actually get a kill, but now he doesn't have a Siege Workshop.
Relations still pretty even. Economy just so much better for Barles here. And now the destroyed buildings and units is just so much closer, but gold control, as we mentioned multiple times, is the big question for Barles.
And Barles has Tatto's push like boxed out by 2 castles now. And Tatto doesn't have the army at home because he wanted to continue this push. More eco kills for Barles. Still gives him time to mass the Cav Archers behind this. Tatto lost a bunch of monks nearly. Look, he must have clicked them to the north. They ran past the palisade walls for Barles. That's 4 or so monks that went down there for Tatto in this moment. Beautiful job here from Barles to hang on here. And he's got the lead. He might not have the military lead, but he has the lead in this game.
Economy wins wars, and well, you see that he can afford enough CA, still has 1 gold spot, and he might see the gold at the right hand side now with the monastery. That is so good for him, and that could be another 2.5k gold for him.
Yeah, that gold on top of the neutral gold, on top of the castle that he is going to place next to Tatto's TC. I actually prefer it be more aggressive, so it actually shoots the TC down, but he could just take Tatto's gold here in a moment. What a crazy game from Barles. But Tatto sees the castle. Tatto sees the castle. He knows it's coming up. Here comes his push.
Scorpion, 1 mangonel. Will that be enough? It will be 15 villagers. Tatto is sending 3 villagers to fight this one off. Maybe trying to learn some information. See, mangonel hits have to come in.
Yeah, conversions, everything here. Oh, geez. It's the perfect spot for the mangonel. Barles in big trouble, maybe. He's got such a big villager lead that might not stay the same if this gets denied, but he's got more vills. He's got to keep clicking here. It's at 96%. It is super close here. He gets it up. Wow. And now, of course, Tatto committed everything, right? So monks are close by. The siege is close by. His own villagers are close by. That castle is going to make Tatto's life miserable economically. And Barles is actually going to try and build another one now on that center hill.
Sick.
Wow.
How can he afford all those?
I guess he didn't have gold, but he's always had stone, right? He's had stone in like every location. And GG is called. Barles ties up the series. What a game from Barles. You know, he played so well, but he lost his main TC. He lost his main gold and still was able to get the job done. Beautiful play.
That was sweet. 40C for Tatto in the end, but didn't really matter. And Barles, that was just a masterclass, how he constantly was so active with his mobility and intercepted the reinforcements. And Tatto, this is really tough to play. And the 1TC, basically the push starting from home, made it so tough. Ideally, you want to have the monasteries at the front.
Yeah, I love to like I can't tell you when Barles actually took an engagement against the Death Ball that game. It was always the side fights, right? He's like, okay, reinforcements coming forward. I'm going to clamp down on those. Eco's exposed. I'm going to raid that. And he was just really able, like you said, to use his mobility, but just avoid that death ball. And I guess by the time Tatto actually took out the TC, Barles was able to have 2 castles, and he was able to have a significant eco lead. Well, here we are, game 3. Catching up to speed on my end here, Nilly, and what a series it's been so far. I mean, game 1, Barles could have won. Right, he had a 5,000 score lead when he ended up resigning. So, 1-1 here. I know Tatto's still the favorite in many people's eyes, but I'm not seeing a big skill difference between these players right now, to be honest with you. They're still so close. We've got Khmer for TaToH in the very south. And then we've got Japanese from Barles in the north. I feel as though the Japanese is a more traditional pick here, Nilly. You've got the flexibility with all the savings on the wood. You've got fish. Those things just scream Japanese. A little surprised by the Khmer, but what are you expecting here from TaToH?
Most likely scout opening into some archers. Feels like the way to go right now. You kind of have to go for archers as well. I've seen people go and commit too much on scouts only, but then you can't really go for the water. So that's not pretty. And TaToH's approach could also be archers into scouts here. And look at that. He is sneaking. What are those two villagers up to, Tristan?
He's going forward. They're going forward with intent.
They're up to no good or what?
I could see archer range stable. And you go like real fast land aggression here from TaToH. And, you know, someone joked we should have a debate on 9 villager versus 3 villager. But like my thinking is, and I think you can agree, 9 villagers, players are not scouting the openings as much because they don't have as much time or they're opting for more economic approaches. So TaToH may be able to take advantage of the fact that Barles does not really know where he is or what he's doing right now.
There is a pause. Let's see what it is.
It's just TaToH.
It was just TaToH.
Yeah, just TaToH saying sec. And it's very rare that when someone says sec, it's actually a sec. But that was pretty close, TaToH. Well played. Oh, man. This, I gotta say, though. So this can happen sometimes on these types of maps where, like, what's probably 2 chunks of wood combine. And I feel that while this can't be walled because of the stone terrain, this could possibly make TaToH's life a little bit more difficult when it comes to applying pressure here.
Yeah, we'll go very short distance into forward archer range with some villagers on gold, so it will be the archer pressure. Has 3 on shorefish at home.
This is so fun, though.
Is he building with a stable as well? It is stable archer aggression.
This is so cool. So I love this because look at Barles. Barles is like, oh, he's on gold? Okay, he's going fire galleys. Great. And then Barles is going to look around. And the key here is, if Barles doesn't see anything, does he check TaToH? Because TaToH's scout was lurking around a bit. Does he check somewhere out of suspicion? Does he research Town Watch here to get a little bit more vision with buildings? Is he paranoid?
He's still scouting. He doesn't really know what's up here.
Yeah. And, like, it's very easy to be like, oh, okay, he's going double dock water then, right? He's going wood and gold to go water on me because I'm Japanese with fish. He does not seem to
only
know.
3 on gold. 3 is not an indication for double dock play.
Okay, well then maybe some paranoia should be in. But how many times do you think this has happened to Barles in his practice sets? How many? This is a big moment, right? You're focusing on what you have to decide on, what you choose to do. He is going archers, but TaToH's going to have more archers, and TaToH's going to have the scouts. And he's also building a tower behind the wood line, Nilly. That's going to be such a good tower for TaToH long term.
And now the scouts are arriving. That's a dead archer, and the archer's even migrating to the left-hand side, so he still doesn't know that it's the forward.
Yeah, and he doesn't know there's archers coming either, right? So he may choose, I don't know what you do. You want to try and wall in an area, but then there's a tower on one side, there's archers on the other, and this is a masterclass from TaToH, sneaking the buildings here, and Barles is in big trouble on land right now.
Ooh, baby, that's a nice snipe. KD 3-1 right now, and that's a tower that's not protecting a lot.
Yep.
Like, he can't safely get wood there.
I love what TaToH just did. He said, okay, you're going to build that tower? Great, because it sucks. Take that wood, and I'm going to go right to the goal. Do you see that? Like, immediately, he says, actually, okay, I camp your gold now. And TaToH is pretty good scouting, so the only other location that Barles can get gold is actually on that right side beyond those walls. Wow, this is fun. Yeah, you could tell, you could hear it in my voice. I love sneak buildings, Nilly.
Yeah, I've seen you go wild with, what was it again? Was it some archery ranges that you tried to sneak?
I didn't know I was opening after all these years. Okay, anyways, moving on. Amazing play from Barles with 6 fishing ships. And I think that is his that is the thing that can make him feel good about this very awkward situation, right? So maybe with all this wood, Barles could even consider building a second dock and being a bit greedy with some fishing ships.
After all those years? Always.
I genuinely thought when I started saying that you were going to mention the cast of like TaToH and Stark from years ago or something, but no. Oh, yeah.
Not if I get the chance for this.
Well, fires from Tatto. There's actually 2 of them on the right. They're stacked on top of each other, and the oars look very weird with that. And now Tatto will know my opponent doesn't have gold to make fire galleys, and he has fishing ships. So I'm going to go try and pressure those fishing ships. But nearly he didn't outpost the right, so Barles is actually mining some of that gold.
Oh, he's getting control of the left side now as well. And yeah, he's on both golds as of right now.
Yeah. So we'll see if Tatto recognizes that. I feel like kind of tricky. Obviously, there's a pretty solid army here from Barles, but you should know if you see more archers from Barles that he's taking gold. And that should be something you then look for. He could be thinking, yeah, you said Barles is on both golds, and yeah, he could be thinking Barles is on that gold again, which I guess is a more reasonable thought. But close game. Barles did take losses, and obviously it was very panicky. But it's just a 4-4 KD, and Tatto only killed 1 economic unit here.
Collected resources though, plus 500 for the Khmer player.
Yeah.
Well, typically Japanese on a water map should be the one collecting more resources. And Tatto, I don't think he wants to take an engagement. Could even maybe think about getting a blacksmith upgrade on those.
Took a long way for the fires to make it, Nilly. But this is going to be a big payoff for Tatto. You've got fires coming from both sides. And also, if Tatto has full water control, I could see him, of all players, bringing demos to the middle area. That is possible here. If Barles chooses to cross.
And that tower, again, might not do much. If Tatto is building the tower behind the woodline, I think he can deny the woodline again.
Yeah, true. Big attack from Tatto. Again, doesn't find another villager kill. I think Tatto wants a dock on the left, but maybe now he thinks tower, yeah. Maybe both, right? And the tower seems very, very reasonable.
Oh, look at the fish. And even Japanese fishing ships against 3 fire galleys, they can die.
Yep. And so for Barles, the positive for him is he now has a very easy decision to make on how he handles this. You go all in on land. And that is where his focus has been. So maybe he was expecting this anyways. Gets a good kill there and has enough army to push Tatto away and will deny Tatto's tower there on the woodline.
Okay, that's big. That's big for him. Skirm's a bit out of position, though. Scouts could jump this. Tatto was a bit distracted, is clicking up to Castle Age, and now disengages. Maybe thinks about upgrading this army.
I know that the docks are really far away from this, but I mean, just one demo. Just sending one to the middle and then like falling back ever so slightly with your feudal age army.
You're a hypecaster.
Well, Dave would have said this 16 times already, right? And Dave, he just can't. It really affects his day, I think, if someone doesn't bring a demo to these areas. I can get over it a little bit, but he's bringing it up a lot, and I just really, realistically, it's so much travel to get there. Tatto's got army to focus on, and it's just not gonna happen just yet. But fishing ships for Tatto, 3, still 3 for Barles somehow. Where? Oh, he's running with
middle.
them.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tatto didn't continue chasing them. He controls the docks. That's more important.
Yeah. So, tiny little detail about this map. There's these little signs with the pots. And in that area, there's 3 shorefish every time. Do you think that'll ever get to a point where that's used? Or is it purely like an aesthetic thing?
Pots, 3 shorefish.
The crossings in the middle.
Oh. I've never seen that before.
I'm just wondering if, like, aggressive feudal strategies, like Tatto's strategy here, if you, like, make the buildings in the middle and then just go build a mill on 600 food, if that would maybe be something.
Can Armenians and Georgians drop off shorefish? Or is it only hunt?
I think it's only hunt.
Okay. I think it will never be used.
Okay. But hey, remember,
never is tough. I'd say very unlikely.
Okay, well, when we're on day 8, right, and we're casting together, and we see a mill get placed there, we just need to look at each other and acknowledge it, and only people who are here for this conversation will know how important that is to us.
You really think that if it happens, you won't mention it? By the way, Nearly, do you remember when I said?
Hey, let me dream that I can shut up about something, all right?
Yeah, zero chance.
Yeah, 0 chance. I will see there's a better chance I'll see a house foundation there and then say, oh, it looked like a mill. Let me tell you the story. That's a better chance. Well, I love that tower from Tatto. I know it seems weird now that it's getting shot down, but like that's still 8 villagers in towers to shoot down 1 tower.
Yeah. Work efficiency is absolutely horrible. This whole game, Tatto now collected 2,500 extra resources.
Wow. Yeah, worker efficiency will continue to be horrible too because there's still army all around, and like Tatto has just kind of shifted this into a little bit of a boom for himself. Going for elite skirm now. Tatto's got so much vision as well. Look at his vision. He sees everything, and he also knows that there's no back resources really for Barles. So when it comes to wood, Tatto's got almost full control of it right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a siege workshop, and look at that. He drops it now. Just needs to control a bit of the left side, and those villagers are already really low on HP.
I'm a little surprised Tatto opted for elite skirm before the siege workshop, but then again, there's crossbows. But hold on, did he notice? He's kind of in the dark now. I think he sensed the crossbows were in the middle, left the location. Oh, and what a great job of tracking from Tatto here.
So good. He's going for the second armor upgrade now as well, and it feels like Barles needs to go for a stable.
Yeah.
I think he needs to go for something else. CA, maybe.
I love it. I mean, Tatto's fires will take out the market from Barles, which when you have an economy like this, you really need. Tatto has the couple archers left over on the gold. Tatto's scouts are looping into the gold. Barles now knows he's been spotted, so he can't realistically sneak. So he has to fall back, probably to defend the gold. And again, another pause, but the clock is kind of ticking, right? The Japanese player doesn't have a fish boom. It's 2 TCs for Khmer. Khmer, the longer the game goes, can be really solid with their farming eco. And Tatto's got enough for now, and apparently they're lagging. They're going to restart. Hopefully we don't need a restore or anything here. And things will smooth out for them.
3 knights as well. Now it's lagging for Barles as well. And yeah, as you said, economy is not looking pretty. Only 3 single villagers on food here for Barles. He will need to buy some more.
Yeah.
Might be the server issue. Okay. They're taking their time.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if both players are lagging, maybe they'll pause, wait a bit, restart. Sometimes that can help. Worst case, save this, restore from here. This obviously would not start over from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Gold control is kind of lacking for Tatto. And what I mean by that is he doesn't really have fortifications on gold. So if Barles gets a big mangonel shot, let's say, and his crossbows can actually advance forward, Tatto's golds are very exposed. So I don't know if he's planning a TC on those, but that's like the one negative I could think of Tatto's position right now is just if one thing goes wrong, I could see a counterattack from Barles doing an awful lot here.
But you mentioned earlier, like, how crazy the vision of Tatto is.
Yeah.
Like, he just sees everything. Like, the the outpost at the left-hand side, got the town watch. Like, there is no single hole. And the one area that he didn't see was the left-hand side. Mm-hmm. And he just shut down the crossbows that moved away.
Yeah.
So counterattack will be really tricky.
Yep, so there was their chat. Let's wait. Let's try. If not, restore. Barles says yes. And obviously, we'll find out if it's still lagging for them. But here we go. Will always be a little bit laggy for us as we like catch up to live for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Barles has actually done a really nice job to get to a position where he could possibly fight back out across the map here. But I'm worried for him. He's probably hoping it's like 1 night inside of that stable, but it's actually going to be 4 for Tatto. And that's going to be more than enough. Now it's 3. 4th is on the way, and that's going to be enough to take out that Mangan. No! Yes!
And that's the end for those crossbows. They need to run now as well. And that's just... Yeah, TaToH, he knows. He just needs to stall, right?
Yep.
He's 2 TC, and there's no way Barles can add one.
Yep. Ballistics even for TaToH. We're going to see a dock from Barles. It's a bit interesting. Might try and make fires thinking that TaToH's got fishing ships out. TaToH can kill villagers with this mangonel, but he's going to need to repair that if he goes back against the towers again, and the vills are now on the way.
Mangonel for Barles. Has to be kind of the saving grace. If you can clear up all the skirmishes, the crossbow can find damage, but the mangonel a bit out of position again already weakens the knights, though.
Yeah, ballistics for the crossbows, too, so those knights might not kill the mangonel if there's only 2 of them.
TaToH with the second mangonel pretty soon, though, and has the advantage. Feels a bit risky to move out. This is the moment where we want to see a demo.
Yeah. I guess, like, if you feel the towers protect you, do you need to even address TaToH's army at all? You think you just move forward. And that's...
how do they protect you? Like 2 mangonels?
Well, they like...
dying.
There's moderate protection, I guess, right? Because, like, you can garrison. Barles is going to clear up the archers on the right. That's nice. And here he comes. And yeah, this is definitely where I would love to see a demo, and TaToH could definitely do it. TaToH happy to get some hits here with his knights. The 1 mangonel goes down, so now it's half a mangonel. And that's it for Barles. And oh, the push is completely dead already. Oh, and those are fully upgraded Castle Age skirms. Those crossbows don't have much life left here.
And it is with ballistics as well. It can chase this down pretty easily, and Barles realizes that counterattack is not going to save me. TaToH takes this 1-1.
Yeah, Barles was trying to make another tower and pop it with a mango. TaToH was also on him there. What a great game from TaToH, and I freaking loved everything about that. That was so good, because Barles, in my opinion, didn't really, based on how everyone's playing these, right? Barles didn't have a bad game there at the start. He was scouting the front. In theory, to not see any military buildings there, should have maybe sent off some alarm bells for him. But at the end of the day, like, even still, he only lost 1 villager. So I just think, TaToH's build, to be able to get the early scouts and the early archers out there, it was such a beautiful setup for him here. It gave him the lands control, but also gave him the opportunity to win water against the Japanese, which is so rare.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising that Barles did commit to more archers. Felt like he needed to go for those instead of like trying to go for spear skirm.
Yeah.
And then hold with some fire galleys, but... It's very likely that he has never faced a strategy like this.
Yeah, and I think, like, the thing with these sneaks, and now with Khmer, it's like, now this should be in people's heads, right? So, in the future, if TaToH is playing this map, and, opponent is looking and wondering where the buildings are, I think we will see a more immediate check in the middle to see what's built there. Assuming the players do their homework, of course, and obviously, if we're seeing TaToH again on this map, that would then mean that he's at NAC 5 main event. So
not necessarily.
Yeah, we'll see
next weekend.
We'll see, right? That's true. Next weekend as well, if Barles brings this back. But it's been a back and forth series so far, and great strategy the whole way through. Barles has another standard lands map available, if I'm not mistaken. So it could be a repeat of Arabia next. Here we are,
and a new one. Right? That will be the match with 2 people, and neither of them has been to an NAC before.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think, and then in this match, obviously TaToH has. I don't think Barles has been to one, right? Or was he in one of the first 2?
No.
Okay.
The first 2 were very cuddly as well. Although we had some people that only have been there once, the Max and Fire.
Yep, got it. Okay. All right, well, in the red again, TaToH right side. It's gone for the Romans here. And, the Romans are an interesting save. I would say that they are very good at, like, 2 specific things. They're not very flexible. And they're good with melee. So anything like infantry or knights. And they're good with eco. But, maybe I should do a shout out to the Scorpions. But I don't think we're going to see Scorpions play too big of a role, though it obviously could. A Berbers a more traditional pick. Cheaper stable units. This map is players are very far away from each other. And it's always extremely common to see stable opening and players stay on knights and camels here. So I really like the Berbers. And TaToH's going to have to play a little bit more defensive in theory in Castle Age, but we'll see.
Doubt used to play Romans a lot on Acropolis, or used to in the sense like over the last month, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time it was man-at-arm play, and then even tried to somehow get into all his legionaries. I'm not sure if that will be TaToH's approach, but that will be an early barracks. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah, I think it was one of the like post-match discussions with the GL team, and I think Viper was like, "Oh yeah, Romans, their eco is super good," and then Doubt's like started complaining about how no one plays the Romans right. He was like, you guys play them for the eco, I play them for the infantry.
Yeah, true.
So
that sounds like Doubt.
Yeah, it sounds like Doubt. I feel like, it's a scout rush map, right? So naturally playing in a little bit more towards spears makes sense. You get the double armor on your infantry long term. I really think TaToH, obviously he's going to make his scouts here, but I could see it. And look at Barles, actually on gold. But I just feel like spear scout for TaToH into pike knight and booming could be what his thinking was with Romans. But I don't like it from an offensive standpoint. It's like, if your opponent does have camels, I don't know if you're going to love life being aggressive in the later stages.
No, it might just be a bit of pike defense and then try to come up with something else. I also think that camel archers will be a unit that TaToH might struggle quite a lot against.
Yeah.
Not even having bracer option.
It is going to be man-at-arms. If there's one player that talks a lot to Doubt, believes in Doubt, it would be TaToH, probably at the top of the list. They train a lot together, talking strategies, testing things, and man-at-arms is what Barles expects here. Now, that is all down to the civilization bonuses. He has not scouted anything, but nice. Like, if you're not scouting, you should be pre-walling some things, right? Especially on a map where the woodline's exposed. So he'll confirm his suspicions here, and he will probably feel very good about the fact that he chooses to go archers here.
Yeah, can't complain about that. Was just very sure that the man-at-arm opening is coming here. Feudal Age timing both the same. And TaToH gets another downhill hit, so has to be pretty happy for HP advantage. It will be even though, so if both took the fight now, it is always 7 hits. The berries, not pretty for Barles. Can't properly farm around them, especially with that archer range placement.
Yeah, that is not going to be a position that is going to be easy for him to control. So what do you think about, and I think we should note, amazing timing for this attack from TaToH. Very rare that you have the man-at-arm builds have the same timing of the archer builds, because it takes more investment. Now he hasn't gone for man-at-arm. He doesn't have his wood upgrade yet. There's downsides, but still. But, like, what do you think about, because my thinking is, like, archer versus man-at-arm, right? Let's say this is going to happen every game and become meta. With that wood line, I really think a well-placed tower against the player who's walled up could really disrupt them. And players are not very tower heavy these days, but if you place it right, they can't even counter tower in the correct way.
Yeah, that could have been an option. And he knows how to, right? We just saw it. So I'm a bit surprised that he didn't send a villager yet. Maybe thought that the archer can just defend it a bit too easily.
Barles wasn't housed, and he researched Town Watch, so I actually think that was on his mind as well. Just to get more vision beyond the woodline there. Smart thinking from him, and obviously there's not going to be a tower, and there's no man-at-arm upgrade. And it's skirms from TaToH as a counter to the archers. So we might see a stable at some point from Barles to think about scouts, but there's also spears. There's also still the militia, and this is going to be kind of awkward. TaToH's got a lot of military units right now.
And now you can easily build a tower if you're TaToH.
Yeah, true.
That can't be shot from Barles. It feels a bit like the Atacama problem, right? You never want to be the one building the tower first.
Yep. Yeah, and look at that. TaToH says, oh, he committed to the tower there. Well, then he can't counter tower properly.
Beautiful.
Yep. Also, the scout went down for Barles. So I think 2 big reasons why you could possibly go for this. And it's tough to say, like, I don't think that the tower from Barles is a mistake. I just think this is perfect counterplay from TaToH. Because if he didn't make that tower, TaToH had almost enough army to contest and start to kill some vills there. It would be slow,
though?
But it would be awkward.
No. Shouldn't Barles with the instant archery range have the advantage? Like, he had 6 ranged units. TaToH now has 5.
Yeah, true.
He can arrest a bit, but technically Barles should always have enough units to defend.
Oh, but I like this. Barl says, oh, that's funny. I see your army. I see your tower. Well played to you, sir. I'm going right to your woodline then. And TaToH, I think, senses this. Look, TaToH's like, all right, he's coming to my base. And just that spearman, the scalding of it should give TaToH enough to pull back some defense here. Does complete his tower. Barles is going to have to place the lumber camp somewhere else right now.
Look how actively TaToH is moving. He just positioned his scout there. Might instantly confirm the woodline, and his infantry is moving as well. That's so clever by him.
Yeah, really good stuff. Now, again, no eco upgrades for TaToH, but is Roman, so 5% more efficient with his eco. And he's got great control at the moment. And the infantry is going to find the villagers from Barles. I like how he's going for man-at-arms now. You know what would be really sick is the armor upgrade, if he could get it. He has the blacksmith. I think the double armor would really come in clutch here with the late man-at-arms.
He could line it up, right? Just hide both upgrades and then suddenly arrive.
Yeah, that's true. Dude, don't show up with just man-at-arms, but he doesn't want to spend the food on that. Oh, he does want to spend the food on that. Oh, man, Barles needs house walls. He definitely needs to be walls.
Yeah, all my archers there, ASAP. But even that is going to be tricky.
I think he didn't see it. Didn't notice. The towers are actually in range of each other, by the way. And now armor's about to come in. Is Berbers, so your villagers are faster, but a good position for TaToH to finally kill his first one here. And, I mean, without Berbers, this is much worse, but great control over the wood lines. Barles has no easy access to wood right now.
And he moves to the old wood line again. Barry's now relatively exposed. TaToH sits at 15 military against 10. Look at the resources, Barles. He was thinking about castling this one, but TaToH says, oh, you aren't producing army. Let's punish you.
Oh, man. Something that I have seen so many YouTube comments scream about for years is not walling in your tower. Actually,
and that's how you saw yesterday how much Stout wanted it, right? He was very carefully walling in his towers every single time.
Yeah, when he played against Hart. A counterattack from Barles. He was able to squeak away with some ranged units. Impressive. TaToH will deal with that. But now Barles has a tower defensively, and he can go back to wood. The worker efficiency has obviously gone down, but creative move from Barles there, and he's got wood again.
Also goes for woodline at the top there. Not the prettiest one to take the woodline at the top, but obviously massive distance to the opponent, so feels kind of safe. Is now building the market and is trying to buy himself up to castle.
Those villagers love this woodline. They're like, oh, after the first two? Please. What? And then we finish it, and then we don't have a job for a bit? We can take a vacation? Yes, please. Yeah, it feels like the natural play here for Barles. TaToH's invested a lot of stuff here. Trying to get Castle Age is probably the best way to turn this one around. TaToH's got more army on the fields. If you try and make more army to match it, you just feel like you're always going to be behind. So we'll see food be purchased here in a moment, I'm sure. But he's purchasing food without access to gold now. It's like, you know, he gets the wood, but now TaToH's all over his gold. Such a tricky spot to be in if you're Barles.
Now needs to add some more farms and is doing that. 5 more farms being added. But now another tower next to the woodline again, and those villagers are heard from earlier.
Yeah. Also, taking down the houses is definitely going to have more than the effect that people might think here, especially if you're going to have wood problems again. It's just another thing that you have to look at and calculate if you're Barles. And again, those men-at-arms are tanky. They will not be taking much damage from the ranged units compared to other men-at-arms. And TaToH sees the gold, and behind this, TaToH's resources are starting to look really good, where he himself could use a market nilly and start to balance out towards Castle Age. So Barles has to put an end to this quickly.
Men-at-arms are diving. Spearmen are taken out right now. Feels like a scout edition could actually be really, really nice. Barles sits on 12 skirmishes, nothing else.
True. Apologies if you mentioned Barles made another tower. I think you might have.
I mentioned TaToH's tower.
Yeah,
didn't see
there's
Barl's
a new tower. Yep, just saw that myself. And the Tatto will happily repair that, I think, to keep those villagers idle for a bit. He's going to make another tower behind it. Okay.
Okay, someone is playing with the range mod.
Yeah. Takes me back to the tournaments of the past with Tatto, back when tower balance was a little bit different.
Oh, I remember wasn't there a tournament against Spring? Where Tatto made himself a challenge to not build a single unit,
And
but
he
Tower
made
rushed
only towers.
3 out of 3 games.
And Spring was not happy.
He was not happy, no.
I don't blame him, though. They had a little bit of a history for a bit, I think, where Spring was really talented, but Tatto had his number. And Tatto would always go for some creative strats. Both on the way to Castle Age here.
And when the YouTube guys said, wall in your towers, that didn't mean wall in your tower with more towers.
True. But nobody's ever thought of it. This might become the meta.
It's just more costly this way.
Yeah, just collect more resources, and that's easy. Oh, man. The traveling the villagers have had to do for Barles. Actually, you can use Capture Age, select a group, and then check their pie chart. Moving, I mean, at least the group I've selected. 30% of the time, wood 21%, food 30%, gold 20%. It's like, I mean, all the villagers that aren't farmers have lived a very diverse life. But that's not what you want. You want villagers to be stuck on one task and be there consistently.
Wood, gold, wood. Just not a lot of building has been done.
Yep. Yeah, so more and more army from Tatto, and he's even mixing in more man-at-arms here. Could go for longsword, and then again, he's already working on double feudal age armor. Could then go for castle age armor. I've seen this not work enough times against knights to think that there's a chance here for Barles, though, if he can get the knight numbers out. Knights are still strong, and they're more mobile. They can decide when to take those fights. This is a very open map. A couple knights over at TaToH's base, which is wide open, could lead to Barles maybe holding on against this.
1-1 upgrades on those knights as well, so it's not an easy snack for any feudal army. Longswords and pikemen being added. How many barracks does Tatto have? Sits at 2 only.
Yeah, now Tatto will be really happy. If he's planning on going pikes, he'll be really happy to clear out as many skirmishes as possible here. But he will likely lose most of his ranged units in the back. Barles on 2 stables. He's definitely panic queued. He's got 5 knights in queue in that one stable and 0 in the other. So that's something that's rare for this level. But maybe that was calculated as he gets bloodlines. The knights are getting cleared up. Clearing up the skirms. Barles has only lost 1 villager this entire game, which is insanity to me.
Sick, yeah.
And like, Tatto's got to shift into full defense. And this is kind of what the problem has been with the Romans in my mind in this matchup is you've got the armor, but think back to what Barles did in the Aztec-Magyar game, right? There were monks and there were pikemen, and Barles just took really good fights. So if he can avoid the armies from Tatto, and obviously somehow find some defense, he could be in a good spot still.
Janitor is being added. Oh, baby. Okay, not too bad against pike. I think they only do 1 damage against pikemen, right? Or do they have extra damage? I think they might have. Yeah, they have.
All I know is they do receive bonus damage from pikes.
Okay.
So that, right? They should, because they're a mounted unit. So that would actually be worse than Elite Skirm in theory, but of course they're more mobile. A good micro here from Barles against these pikes. The pikes have a lot of armor, though, and the monk's also there. And the monk gets a conversion. So that's actually great defense from Tatto. Losing the monk for the conversion is more than fine. The knights get pushed away, and Tatto's got a forward attack with the longsword pikeman now.
Should be conversion there. Indeed, one is happening. Second one potentially as well. And that is showing a bit of army, but I would be really surprised if he finds a lot of damage.
Yeah, and the monks were actually a huge addition. You can heal up your weak knights if you're Barles. You also can just convert the longswords, which then are good against the pikes. It's like, I might not have the armor with my Civ bonuses, but you do, and I'm going to take that, so thank you very much.
Janitors with fletching only.
Yeah.
Does not excite me too much.
Yep. Those monks need to save themselves. One of them does. Remember, TaToH's on 2 TCs behind this. And so
for a third one.
He's going for a third one now. That's on the hill. Will protect some golden wood. I really like his TC on the wood that he's already placed. That's super smooth. But still not a biggest fan of either player's eco upgrades. It's just been that type of game where army and villager number has been the priority, not the upgrades.
Typically, if you see like people opening men-at-arms or 3 militia, the economy is just so tight that you can't really afford it. And those monks are getting quite some conversions.
And
Four
healing.
conversions for Barles this game already.
Yeah, look at the KD now. It's shot up. TaToH had the lead at one point. And now all those weak knights will be new knights as long as Barl sticks around to heal them. But I think this is Barles under pressure to get counter damage in right now. He feels that he needs to go forward with them.
Yeah, and it is Barles on 2 TC, goes heavily onto stone, while TaToH just easily booms on 4 TC soon.
Yeah.
Now aiming to get some relics, and if TaToH is just getting 3 relics, some pikemen for the defense, he's chilling. The big question mark though, can he deal with camel archers without any scorpions?
Yeah. Obviously, could always mix in those scorpions. Love the game sense from TaToH to know where he's vulnerable right now. Where would the knights come? Probably over here. Here they are. TaToH does not show reaction to this. Barles should find a villager. TaToH knows, though. He did click the one away. And TaToH actually survives nicely there. Wheelbarrow, big tech here. So your villagers are a bit faster. And honestly, with 67 vills, you want that anyways. And a longsword attack on the wood line from TaToH.
That's a nice raid. Well, the pikemen at home, the longsword at the front. Great move.
Wow, so the villagers are only 0.02 speed slower than the longswords. So considering, like, you know, the animation and how the longswords have to stop when they attack, you should be able to escape most longsword raids with Berber villagers.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, maybe you take a hit every, I don't know how many tiles, right? Yeah.
And Barles is thinking, I need TCs, I need to catch up on eco, I need to attack. I also want that castle. There's a lot of things going through his mind right now. I think the ideal timing would have been a forward castle, but from what we can see, TaToH's going to have a lot of pikes. And if you're just going to have knights in defense, while you can still use the monks to get conversions, I think that'll be a bit tricky to force that fight against the Romans.
I like that now he's taking the time to fully heal up. Was poking a bit.
Yeah.
Was seeing, okay, can I find something? And now adds light calf against the monks. That kind of indicates that he wants to make a big attack happen.
The Genitor is just being wasted here. They're not doing anything. I feel like this could be a forward castle from Barles. I don't know if it'll work, but, like, that's a lot of knights. He is behind economically, and he'll feel that. But, oh boy, there he goes. He's going to take this fight. He's going to kill the monks. He's going to drop a castle in the middle.
Is there maybe Mangonel from TaToH? Didn't queue up anything. Castle's being started. And I don't think that TaToH is anywhere close to contest this.
Yeah, castle will go up. If it was a little bit more aggressive, though, Nilly, right behind that wood line, would hurt TaToH. Here come the pikemen. The pikemen would clear that number of knights. But it's still, the villagers are just able to build. Not all of them. 4 of them are going a completely different direction for some reason. But still, the castle should go up. Ideally, you keep your knights alive if you're Barles. You can go knights. You can go camel archer. And it's just, we've reached that point with the Romans where you're kind of stuck on this. And if this isn't the answer for you, I don't know what is. Still don't know why Barles has villagers underneath TaToH's TC. That's probably just a misclick when he went to click light cav there. But he killed a monk with that, Nilly. And Barles has the castle up. Only 3 villagers behind, and Barles, looking to tie up the series, is in a really good position.
Villagers really even right now, and those knights are dealing with those heavily upgraded pikemen. At least I thought so. Maybe the pikes are good enough. Oh, yeah.
Maybe not the fight you want there for your Barles, but sometimes you take those fights because you realize you don't need that unit any longer. You can go for the camel archer. Still no Bodcanero. But with 2 castles on the other side of TaToH's CCs, he would benefit from Bodcanero and would benefit from Camel Archer with all the pikes on the field.
Where does TaToH get wood now? Still, the one in the middle is something he can take for some seconds right now. Obviously on his plateau, but he needs to evacuate, and he's moving to the bottom.
Yeah, that's a good location for TaToH to go. But this game becomes so much harder for TaToH now. And the worker efficiency for TaToH is down in the 30s. Whereas for Barles in the feudal age, it was there. But, of course, there's more villagers now, right? So that's even more villagers that are struggling. And this feels like this might not be the end of the struggles. If the Camel Archer number grows, Bodcanero is on the way. And what a smooth job from Barles here in Castle Age, Nilly. So well timed. Like, so many players, let's say in the top 100, get to the castle, get to the Camel Archer. But they don't have 92 villagers, right?
Yeah.
Or it's like you get the 92 villagers, but then the castle's too late. Or it's not in the right position, right? This is just, everything is clicked so well for Barles. It's so impressive.
What is this castle by TaToH, though? That is really
Barles
aggressive.
sees it.
Barles sees it! Bucks it with houses! Beautiful!
Barles says, sorry, these are my lands. We have the permits to build here. And TaToH has to place a castle further back. And it's still a forward castle, but that is not nearly as good as the initial spot would have been.
Yeah. From the other spot, he could have easily pressured the castle first. And TaToH, he can click up any second. Just needs the second building here, right?
Yeah.
I think he only has the monastery right now.
If TaToH can make this messy enough, the Camel Archers have to be babysat quite considerably here. You really have to focus on them and hit and run. So, you know, if TaToH could just like kind of armor up his infantry, get some trebs, maybe the Camel Archers find themselves in bad spots, maybe the castles start to fall. You never know. There are 12 Camel Archers, but they're not at home either, so that's just giving himself a shot with this forward castle. I actually, though, like...
Pikeman rate.
think the castle would have actually been better suited near his monastery. Like, kind of protects that opening so Camel Archers can't come through. And that's where both Barles' castles are. So you could just treb the castles down very easily.
Did TaToH think that he would be up to Imp earlier, though? That would be the big question, right? If you know you're up earlier, it feels like the contesting castle is the better choice. If you know you're later, maybe this might be a better option, but I'm really not sure. Buys himself another castle. Oh, boy.
Oh, man. You know what's really funny, Nilly? Which TC does Barles go imp in, if he were to go imp?
Well, he's so far away. Probably build another one. I think I'm building another one.
Exactly. And that's why I got so excited about it, right? That's not a normal this is not a normal thinking. You think which one that I have right now do I go imp in? And the only one I could think of is the one in the very north, but that might not be up. So TaToH giving himself a real shot, still taking tons of eco losses, but if he can get to trebs out of these castles, TCs and castles from Barles could go down.
Oh, there will be some dead units for sure, or some dead buildings. And TaToH, it's really important that if you reach him, that you have 400 wood, 400 gold for the instant trap production prepared. And where's Barles going imp? Oh, the one at the top. I think it will be enough time, though.
I think so too, right? But it's likely that he will have exposed villagers, and his food eco will actually suffer, because these castles are near a lot of his farming eco. Where's TaToH's first treb gonna go, though? It could, like, sit in the pond area, like on the shoreline to hit the castle. You gotta go for the castle, right?
Feels like the natural thing to attack. Or you feel like, okay, wow, I'm guaranteed to kill 2 of his town centers. Which might be good eco damage as well.
Yeah. He's actually trebbing the house from Barles for some reason on the left, but it's probably a misclick because he's trying to defend with scorpions and pikes, and the Camel Archers are just eating all the pikes they see. And the scorpions as well will go down because the Camel Archers have so much attack, and TaToH building panic TCs everywhere. It's trebs or bust for TaToH. He needs the trebs to be accomplishing something.
Well, he gets 2 TCs down already. Third CC is something he sees, attacks it slowly now with the pikemen, but yeah, there will be no prioritization, and only one trap won't kill it in time.
Yep, absolutely. At 9 camel archers for Barles in the south region, 26 kills.
Nice.
And new TCs for Barles going up, new farms for Barles going up, and Barles has 27 camel archers. Bracer could be on the way, chemistry could be on the way. Elite camel archer's pretty realistic. He still has his castles. I do not know what Romans do against this. The answer is Scorpion, but there's so many answers the Berbers have against the Scorpion as well.
No, it's just like you have the answer against one unit, but not against the Civ,
Yep.
it feels like.
And so it's, pros and cons to the Civ, right? The early strengths from TaToH were solid, but Barles did such a good job to keep his villas alive. Relocate woodlines. Wasn't ideal, but he stayed in this. And he finds himself in Imp with the villager lead right now. Elite Camel Archer on the way. TaToH's forward castle lost the Treb. And now Barles is going to focus his attention on the other Trebs that TaToH has, going for that castle in the middle. That's a lot of Scorpions, though.
That's ambitious.
Yeah. Imagine Barles is distracted right now.
Okay, that's the fights that TaToH is looking for.
Definitely going to be
Now goes
bombard
for
cannons for
ballistas.
Barles. And, okay, ballistas is the faster firing?
I think so, like 33%.
Faster
Something in
firing.
that ballpark, right?
Yeah. They're
think it's
affected by
something high.
ballistics. TaToH didn't get ballistics. And then ballistas, I think, is the faster firing speed. And it also affects their galleys as well, which obviously isn't super relevant here. And we're going to see TaToH with the Centurion here mixed in. It's a really expensive unit, but he needs to make something that's mobile that could maybe kill some vills that are around.
And it makes your infantry stronger as well, so keep those around. That's kind of an aura unit.
Yep.
Something we don't have too much in Age of Empires, typically.
Yeah, Barles wants to avoid the Scorpions, and this is why. But he is... Oh my god, he's just all underneath the TCs from TaToH. The TC will go down to those Camel Archers, actually. So Barles could have stuck around there. He had a bombard cannon on the way in that siege workshop. It did go down. So he lost the new one. He has this one now. Misses the shots. But he's got more on the way. And it just seems so difficult for TaToH to find a good engagement right now against the Berbers.
Yeah, how do you even get a kill on a bombard cannon with this army?
Yep.
Economy is simply not there. Those camel archers at the bottom still annoying. The push at the top even of TaToH's base, really solid. And Barles just coming in this one really nicely. Early aggression was so good by TaToH, but then maybe a bit too stubborn with all the infantry. Someone like Yo, for example, would have switched into knights a bit earlier there.
So many players break. So many players get broken by that feudal age pressure, and then in Castle Age, they can never catch up. Regardless of the Civ's options here, that just happens. But Barles has found himself in the driver's seat for some time now, and the GG is called, and we have ourselves a 2-2 here in the decider. Barles continues to find responses once TaToH gets a win, and, oh man, hopefully for fans watching, this will continue to the 7th game nearly. I mean, you're looking at the draft, even the draft and the civilizations remaining and all this crazy stuff. Still very even, right? Barles still has a home map available. I think TaToH now has 2. But, was there something that went wrong for TaToH as far as his approach in this game? Or was it simply an issue with the approach?
Maybe the second and third tower didn't really pay off a lot after we saw Barles already having the lumber camps at the top.
Yeah.
And I think then it was a bit too much infantry in Castle Age.
Maybe
at the front. Like the longswords, I don't think they really paid off anymore.
Yep.
The moment Barles has like 3 monks at home, how many infantry do you need to send that he is not taking good conversions against you?
I also feel as though, like Berbers just feel a lot more natural here, right? The map is very open. You're very far apart from each other. Sure, when the infantry got there, it was strong for TaToH for a time, but the knights, they found more value, and obviously the camel archer too. But again, to restate what I said, so many players, they get to the castle, but not the eco. or they get to the eco but not the castle. The positioning and the timing of that castle and the switch to camel archers was so good from Barles. And, I mean, you just look to the north now. He lost the majority of his farming eco this game to 2 castles. He's already back up to 30 on food. The guy's an animal, and the hype is real about him. So, 2-2. Both players want to be in Berlin in 3 or 4 weeks' time. And we got 3 more games to decide who makes it. Sorry, Game 5 and Rocky Forest. And, Nilly, this map's pretty interesting, right? There's a lot of maps where you cannot build on certain types of terrain in this tournament. But what makes this unique is the lumber camps are inefficient. And basically, you cannot wall in your lumber camp until you chop through more trees, which is different from some of the other maps.
And that's why I think we will see Armenians and Georgians here. Would not surprise me at all because, well, it's just easier, right? You can move them. It's easier to move through the center as well with all those tiers. Obviously, Georgians with their problem right now with the Monaspa bug. Not allowed in qualifier number 1. Armenians would have been a choice, but it just feels like Franks and Byzantines have a lot of stuff going for themselves as well.
Yeah, lots of berries around this map. I seem to remember this was in the German and U.S. championships. And everyone felt like Franks, Aztecs, Goths, Mongols, those 4, for a variety of reasons. And Franks were still so clean. Berries everywhere. Tatto loves to take advantage of like extra resources like that, so wouldn't surprise me to see a second, maybe even a third mill. Early barracks from Tatto. This wouldn't happen on another map, but I think he's thinking that the potential for man-at-arms or militia is there because of how the woodline works.
Could just be the barracks. Maybe it just goes for a 2 militia drush into scouts? Is that a thing? Typically, no, because typically the answer to the 2 militia drush is walls. But if the answer is not walls, then militia into scouts, something we very rarely see, could actually be an option on this map.
Yeah, I mean, if the food's there, right? He's going to go to gold, though, so that I think that tells us it'll actually be archers. Dal tried to go man-at-arms with Goths. Were you casting that series, or were you casting another one at that time?
I was casting it, yeah.
Okay, so question on that. It just felt like it was right on the edge of Doubt doing a significant amount of damage with the man-at-arms or not, right? I was saying, if he had a 4th there, he might have killed like 2 Vils. But I'm not sure. What was your read in the situation?
I hated it from start to finish because it was exactly the same strategy that he played against Nikov NAC4 qualifier.
And it didn't
same
work
map
out. Okay.
Against AM, and it didn't work out.
Okay, got
so
it.
I was already really sad because I felt against the high level that Hart and Nikov are, a single archer defends so easily already.
Okay. Yeah, you know, it's there was that too, right? Because you look at the player that Hart is, and you just know he's going to be able to slap it away like it's nothing, right? But interesting. Well, Tatto's going for infantry, and Barles just did a just passing. And I'm not convinced that Barles actually noticed that.
Pretty sure with how he's rushing the archery range now. Typically, you build the archery range with 1 or 2 villages, depending on how far away you are from your town center. And with this priority, he wants to get that archer out ASAP.
Okay, yeah. And then it could be skirms for him, I guess, because he's not on gold. Never made a transfer to take the gold in the back. Here come the militia. Woodline cannot be walled in. We'll see if Tatto can get more value here. Barles has no choice but to fight back with villagers. And here goes Tatto, and he engages.
It's 1 villager potentially. Scout moves around. Very low HP villager. Gets 1 kill. Tries to squeeze through. Boink.
Yep, and then the man-at-arms already found more value than Doubt was able to when he was playing as the Goths. First archer is out. There is a question of, is it worth it? It's a big investment for the militia. A lot of players still wouldn't do this, but I think Tatto will be happy with the start. He's also got control, and one of the best things that Tatto does as a player is he hits you first, and then he has the initiative, and he forces you to react, and he takes you to where he has just enough pressure where you have to follow him at all times, setting up the next attack.
But it will also be, just like in the game before, if you open 3 men-at-arms, that's a big early investment.
Yep.
Your wood upgrade will be delayed here for TaToH, so economy is suffering behind this. This is a massive investment, and it needs to do damage.
Yeah. Will TaToH send a few more onto berries, being Franks, to recover some food here? Also, does it feel comfortable for anyone, especially the Franks, as both scouts go down, to make archers against the Byzantines? The Byzantines have cheap spears, but they've got the cheap skirms as well. So I think, like, this is a tale as old as time with the Byzantines. Whatever you make, they have a cheap counter. And considering TaToH's pretty big investment into the man-at-arms and how it's not doing anything more, I think Barles will be in a really nice position here.
More archers. Oh boy, I'm a bit scared for TaToH. I think he needs another addition. He goes for the wood upgrade without any scouts.
So my thing is, like,
really good Barles.
Wonder what TaToH does, right? Because, like, it'll be annoying, but spears and skirms don't kill villagers, not just yet. So obviously, right now, TaToH, he's about to know where both armies are. He has the army chasing him in the middle. He will find out about the spears and the skirms on the left. I would love to see a sneak. Yeah, this is epic. You keep the other archer in your range, and then you sneak the other archers around the map, and then he thinks that you're just reacting to him.
Not to the right. Don't you need to go to the left-hand side? Oh, right is so long.
Yeah, if he would have
started the mission at 11:15.
Okay. Well, Barles, there's going to be a point here. There's going to be a point where Barles is going to think it's awfully quiet out there, right? And when you have heavy skirms, you are right now thinking it could be scouts coming from TaToH, and he's kind of hiding it. But thankfully, you're Byzantines, and so being Byzantines, as Barles builds blacksmith number 2, by the way, so he can have double the upgrades. That was an oopsie. But yeah, with Byzantines having Town Watch, a sneak shouldn't do as much damage to you, in theory.
Take a look. Archer and Spearman at the front, just harassing a bit, but then moving away as well. And TaToH, he doesn't need the gold right now, so won't be too scared with this. Continues with his skirm production, and Franks without a stable for a very long time here.
Yeah. You know what's wild? Is that TaToH is on berries in 2 different areas, and Barles has just missed the scouting on both of those. Nice fight back from TaToH, but look at the vision. He barely missed the mill on the left. TaToH's just chilling there. And then he barely missed the mill in the north, and TaToH's going to actually go to more berries with those villagers.
That's why TaToH is actually fine with only 3 farms, while on the other side we already see 10 farms out there for Barles.
Yep. And the man-at-arms could actually be pretty decent at defending. Barles is sending the rest of his skirms forward.
Actually come in for TaToH. This could actually be perfect for TaToH. As I said, 11:10 or 11:15 they started their walk, right? It took them over 3 minutes to arrive where they are right now.
Yeah. And
they might
really
come in and get villager killed.
Yeah.
Sick.
Barles, he was waiting at home. He was waiting, and he's like, fine, TaToH's too fast for this to happen. And TaToH, this is the dream scenario, Nilly. Oh man, he hasn't been found at home, and he finds this, and if he micros this properly, he could kill 4 or 5 villagers. Big finds for TaToH as he is overwhelmed at home. Beautiful job from him. Barles will be frustrated, and Barles will be under pressure to do more damage with his attacks.
Archer goes down. 3 vilts went down with it, and this somehow paid off. Yep. I don't know how this happened. I think TaToH got actually lucky there.
Yeah.
But you would never expect it, so I can also kind of understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting, though, right? Because, if he doesn't try, I don't know what this game looks like right now. This is already going to look bad for TaToH at home. He's got to make skirmishers against Byzantines with cheap skirms. He could lose just as many vills. So it's good that he did some damage, because Barles still, as he's shown some crazy fight today, he's made it very clear that even if he's going to lose the game, it's going to be a close one. He could still give TaToH some real issues here.
No armor on those skirms. That's what Barles realizes as well. Tries to fix that. And now it's going for Archers himself.
Yep. Also, overall, his worker efficiency has probably been a little bit better than TaToH's. And after losing 4 villagers, he's looking for more kills. TaToH saving 1. I missed the quick walls. It looks like there were some. But still exposed villagers around. TaToH seems like he's just got just enough, though, to push most of this away. And at the end of the day, it is still just trash units. They don't kill villagers quickly. That's
oh man.
TaToH with 7 farms, and he's clicked up to castle. That is the berries.
21 on food. 21 on food, yeah. That's why you picked Franks here.
Yep. And it's so sad for Barles that, like, he tried to take a little bit of extra berries. Obviously, he doesn't have the bonus, but it still could be helpful. And then he lost the vills there. TaToH doesn't care about the vills. He cares about saving the berries for himself.
And now the first scout out clears up the left-hand side quite nicely. Could be added at the right, or could be added at the left-hand side as well. But more spear and skirm are arriving.
I like
Barles
that.
might be a bit confused, right? Wow, you have a lot of villagers on gold, and I only see some skirmishes.
Yeah.
He could be scared.
Yeah, should expect the knights, though, in many ways, right? And I like the archer mixed in there from Barles, because 1 or 2 archers in this, and then villagers start to go down, and that efficiency for TaToH continues to look pretty rough, and he's going to lose his first villager, and he's completely off of gold. He's got to shift elsewhere. He's got to mine stone to recover some of the stone. Doesn't have the wood yet for the mining camp. Like, I think as long as whatever TaToH does in early Castle Age doesn't damage Barles, Barles might actually have the better eco and the better position.
And then Byzantines, right? They, as we mentioned so many times, have often the best answers.
Yeah.
Cheap camels against the knights, cheap skirms against the crossbows. And then TaToH just needs to really outmass the opponent, which is tricky.
Yep, and this is why I like what TaToH's done here. TaToH said, all right, enough reacting here. I'm going to move forward. I've got my scouts. Now, he did give Barles a warning shot because Barles lost 2 units to these. And TaToH's hoping to work his way past that blacksmith and in towards the gold, but it's still going to be tricky. He really would need the knights to really break his opponent. Ooh, he's got the archers still. These were never killed. Oh, and Barles needs a tower here.
Yeah, nice reaction. He knows how much damage he could take here. The timing for TaToH tries to jump in. Botkin finishes. Spearmen are dead. Scouts could maybe jump this one. TaToH, he could think about moving into the wood line, but obviously stable's close.
Yeah, I wonder what you do. I would run through.
We don't. No! Would just be the tower there. Villagers can fight you off, and the stable can instantly produce camels or knights. Big risk to lose all your army.
Yep, TaToH doesn't want to do that. Getting crossbow now. I think part of my thinking, right, my instinct, which clearly is wrong, to run through is the matchup. I'm Franks against Byzantine. I need more damage would kind of be my brain. But, you know, Barles isn't on the second TC yet because he dropped the tower, which he wasn't planning on. And TaToH able to do that. So TaToH could gain a bit of an eco lead here. Frankish eco has bonuses to work with. Specifically those farms. That bonus only gets better. And Byzantine still no eco bonuses to speak of.
Camel now left-hand side tries to find some extra berries and might run into TaToH being a bit exposed there. Wheelbarrow for TaToH. Scouts trying to see what they can attack. I don't think that TaToH's army will be able to achieve too much.
This is... The multitasking here is going to be really interesting. They both have a skirmisher, like, ranged unit base at the other guy's army. At the other guy's base, and they don't really have the counters to it just yet. It looks like TaToH's closest to having counters, but like you said, the camel from Barles, the skirms and archer from Barles, TaToH skirms and archers. It's just a very messy game at the moment.
Yeah, but incredibly even.
Yeah.
The only big difference is that TaToH is on 2 TCs, while we have Barles at 1, now goes for the monastery. And Barles, he doesn't really know where to move with his army in the center right now. Has to obviously be happy that the camel at the left found 3 vill kills.
Yeah. And I think he's going to be really happy he hasn't been pounced on yet with these skirmishers and this archer. And he finds a really good spot. TaToH's coming out for this. He just didn't know they repositioned this way. And that's some nice value here from Barles. Kills another Vil. Eco KD 5-5. As you said, an even game, but TaToH still has that second town center.
Now needs to move with the Vils. Obviously 1-2 could go down. That's a lot of damage output. And TaToH tries to dance a bit. Will clear up the army though, but Barles might have a slight advantage.
And Barles clears up the army in the south. TaToH was still looking at home. Clicked a couple units into the skirms. Nice job from TaToH. I guess that leftover scout's going to help him get away, but still a very close game. TaToH builds a TC on the left-hand side, so 3 TCs against 1. When have we seen this before, though? In the previous game, TaToH ended up having inferior army in the long run, but he was on the 3 TCs a bit faster than Barles. So if Barles can catch up, I do think Byzantines have the best army compared to the Franks long-term, but Barles needs to do that soon.
Okay, maybe now some raiding behind the wood line against TaToH might even be an option in the center area.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is like these TC spots are not the TC spots you really want on Rocky Forest. You want control of all the gold and the stone in the middle. And Camel Raid underneath the tower. I wouldn't necessarily suggest this. Is TaToH just queued up 2 trade carts, nearly? 2.
Okay. Well, 2 are better than 1.
Well, that is a really expensive misclick for a guy who doesn't have much gold in the bank right now. TaToH. Barles actually clicked a trade cart in the previous game, in the first game of this series. Oh god, TaToH noticed. But does he notice he's making another one?
The disrespect. Does he think he's that far ahead?
Where's the market for Barles? It's
Oh,
on the other
could get
side.
some golds. Could be like 50 gold per trip.
Yeah, so obviously a misclick from TaToH. There's something about it. When I go to the market and buy and sell, sometimes I also accidentally click a trade cart. So I don't know if the whole pro community needs to change their hotkey or if it's a bug. But I've noticed it a lot more.
Use the market though. He didn't use the market. I think it was like he didn't sell anything.
There's no way this is intentional.
No, that's not intentional.
Night raid in the
nice
south.
raids. Yeah, that's good.
But also a decent enough raid could start for Barles towards the middle. He's got to be careful though. He's still fighting underneath towers with camels. And TaToH could maybe defend from this with the 2 camels he converted now. TaToH with a villager lead. And it's just a question of, can TaToH take engagements against the camels? And Barles thinking the same. Barles might go for a forward castle here. TaToH's also saving up for castles being Franks. And it's more expensive now because the devs changed it. But it is still cheaper than most civilizations to build a castle with the Franks in the Castle Age.
Could you tell me why the devs changed it?
Because they were 4 years too late. Like,
oh, you think it's a good change?
No. I think it's a bad change, but I think if you would have done it in 2019, I would have been like, okay, it's fine. But I think the Franks are a very one-sided civ, but they're just very good. And I think that, competitively speaking, that change made no sense to me.
Okay.
But also, the list of changes that he made recently that I don't like is much longer. So, we won't get into that.
Okay.
I like you're like, oh man, T90, he wants to talk about this. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so the trade cards waited for their moment, now moving in.
I imagine Barles is going to notice this at some point. Again, he did misclick one earlier and canceled it. And the trade cards are not going to make their move. If TaToH went to the left with his archers and to the right with his trade carts, everything would have been different this game.
True.
I mean, he did still kill 4 Vils with the sneak, so I guess it worked out. Yeah. And big eco lead for TaToH. He also kind of cuts off the entry from Barles, at least easy entry from Barles with that castle. There's still potential, but TaToH is planning for the late game without access to the stones and golds in the middle. Did manage to get 2 relics, though, and does have a healthy 20 villager eco lead with 5 TCs right now. Whoa.
He could get a castle going out on his initial wood line. And that could give him some more gold and stone control there
true.
On the right-hand side.
There's going to be a castle from Barles. It's cheaper for Byzantines to go up to Imp. And someone says, this is why I don't have hotkeys, so I don't have to worry about that. Well, I don't really have... I don't use hotkeys? Buy and sell hotkeys for markets, for example. I do use one for trade cards. But still somehow, even though I know my trade card hotkey, when I go to click buy and sell at the market, trade cards get queued up sometimes. So it's weird, man. Like, do you misclick trade cards with your markets?
No. I don't realize.
Huh.
Don't remember anyone.
Viper's done it recently. Barles, TaToH. It happened a lot in Warlords. I really wondered. There's something going on, man. There's a virus spreading.
I'm getting scared for TaToH.
Yeah, army, right? It's like, what army does he make here? Eco's great. The potential to build castles everywhere is great. But he's making Axemen right now, and Axemen could be good against any potential pikes. They're actually pretty good against camels, but Byzantine castle's so strong, and Barles has such good control of important resources in the middle here. It just feels like Barles has done such a good job today stabilizing when things go bad. Take some losses? Sure. Figure it out. He does such a good job at that. Nice trap here from TaToH, though. TaToH will clear this up. Couple villagers from TaToH on the right, trying to build outposts and get vision, which is obviously smart. TaToH loves to raid the sides on maps like Fortified Clearing, which is similar to this. And we saw in Game 1, which was a masterpiece for those that got here late and missed it. Like in Game 1, it was a similar thing for TaToH. He felt like he was in a rough spot against the army of the enemy, so he raided on the sides.
What is TaToH going for? Add some Summon Knights. 1,200 gold for him, but limited, right? He has 3,000 gold to go for. 4,000 gold to go for.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be Knights right now from what I'm seeing. Maybe just hand cannon, bombard cannon, and hope that Barles doesn't go skirm.
Yeah, skirm or Barles would be good against that.
Yeah, but Barles would have to notice
to go for it, though.
Yeah. Barles would not see it. Barles hasn't seen much, like, long-term army from TaToH at all here. Like, he just sees a couple units that TaToH's been continuing to heal up. A couple units that he donated to TaToH with conversions. I mean, he's got vision. He's got outposts. He's building outposts on the right as well. But for now, he's just kind of waiting to find out. I think the camels on the right, even, are just, like, looking for buildings right now.
Crazy what Barl sees. He sees so much of the map. Pretty sick.
Yeah, it's like... TaToH has to ask for permission to do anything right now. Barles is fully in charge. And even economically, is not too far off, right? Also has better eco upgrades than TaToH, at least when it comes to the wood. Which is inefficient on this map anyways. And Castle will go down for TaToH, and that might not be the end of it. Barles is going to have more trebs coming, you would assume. Right now, though, only stopped at 3. TaToH's first bomber cannon is on the way.
And that is desperately needed, that one does not die. Needs to be microed pretty well. Barles queues up 10 hand cannoneers on his own. And TaToH is still not really committing to any units, right? He's building one bombard cannon. That's basically the only unit that he queued up since he reached him.
Yeah, but it's also an options thing, right? It's an options thing. Like, you go cav, you go infantry, the Byzantines have an answer. They have some of the best answers. So, to have to shift into a Treb war even is rough. You're just fighting at a disadvantage at this stage, and Barles knew it. He's done a great job bringing this here. And look at that castle from Barles on the left. If he gets Bracer, say goodbye to your wood, TaToH. That is going to be brutal for TaToH's wood economy.
This is absolutely sick. And maybe TaToH goes for the logic, okay, you have all the answers against all my units, so I just don't build any units, so you can't counter me.
Yeah. Well, bombard cannons right now, like bombard cannons in theory, they could snipe the trebs, they could snipe the castles, they could snipe the hand cannons. But TaToH lost his bombard cannon to the hand cannons from Barles. And Barles now knows, oh yeah, gunpowder, great, I can do that too. He'll add his own bombard cannons to push this. And, well, Barles might lose the castle. But TaToH's under pressure. TaToH has to take this castle out to have any hope.
Now sends in this bombard cannon, goes for sanctity, some conversions against the hand cannoneers. That's a lot of villagers. They need to keep this one up. Bombard cannon obviously doing lots of damage here. TaToH loses a trap. That is really costly for him.
And no redemption for the Franks. They cannot convert the siege. They can only convert the normal military units. And this is going to hurt for TaToH now. He doesn't have a true answer to that bombard cannon beyond his own bombard cannon, but his bombard cannon's gone down! And Barles wins the game. It's the first time that we have had 2 wins in a row in the series. And Barles with some beautiful momentum here. This was TaToH's home map. And he still has one of his home maps waiting. Barles, an amazing player, an incredible talent, but undoubtedly the underdog in this series, is now up 3-2.
This is so sick. This is so sick. Seed number 1 going into this one. Now backed against the wall. So many people thought like TaToH should have been invited, but Barles, he has different plans.
Barles now has to go to the drawing board, think about what he needs to do, but like, we got to talk civs here. Let's just quickly sum this up, because they started the other game so quickly. Barles collected about the same amount of resources, but it felt like after the man-at-arms, after the sneak archers, it was all him. He just had more military units, he had great vision. TaToH expanded to the sides on a map where you kind of need to expand towards the middle. Just super solid stuff here, Nilly. But to the drawing board we go, right? To talk about civs and like what we think is possible for these two. It'll be Shoals as TaToH's remaining home map. He doesn't have to play this now, right? He could go for Arena if he wants. And then obviously Arena for Barles. TaToH will have Turks, Mayans, Italians, and then Barles will have Saracens, Gurjaras, Koreans.
I think it is mind games.
What is mind games?
It's a lot of mind games. Well,
in
Gurjaras hard counter Turks.
Okay.
So where do we put Turks?
So like you're thinking Turks traditionally Arena. But maybe TaToH doesn't play them on Arena. Okay, so if it's mind games, which one do you reveal first? Arena or Shoals? Arena, right?
It doesn't really matter unless you are willing to play Mayans against Gurjaras, which sounds horrible as well.
Okay. Here we are. This is game number 6. And this is not the first time in the deciders thus far for NAC 5 qualifiers. We've seen the favorite down 3-2. That happened earlier today, right? With ACCM and Sebastian. And that was a crazy series. I was watching that with my morning coffee, and I was blown away. Obviously a heartbreaker when it goes to Game 7 and anybody loses at this level. But Italians for TaToH. He wants to take it to a Game 7 to get back to NAC. He's been at every single one from its inception up to 4, which was last year. And he's got a good Civ for it, Nilly. Now, there have been different versions of this map, but Italians have always been one of the better civs, in my opinion. Do you agree with me on that, on this version?
Italians have shown to be very promising, yeah. You can contest water, obviously. Your upgrades are cheaper, not that we will see them necessarily, but your fishing ships are cheaper, advancing to the next age is better. And I think the crazy thing is also the condo. An early imp unit that can do so much damage and could easily win a game for you.
Okay, got it. And then Saracens, a civ that TaToH's kind of known for playing with a lot, right? You can kind of cut some corners by using the market, buying and selling resources at a better rate with the cheaper market. But if full water control is something that Barles wishes to achieve, Saracen galleys also do fire faster. So I'm not sure what these players are going to do here. My feeling on this map is very much from TTL Season 2. But there were deep fish in the middle. You know, a lot of time has passed since then. And, you know, maybe full galleys is going to be a thing here. Because at the conclusion of Titans League Season 2, it was like fast castle fires a lot, I felt. So, guess we'll find out.
Right now, what this one is, build fishing ships and ignore water afterwards.
Okay, got it. So
From,
just give
from
up.
what I've seen, yeah, I think people are not going for a lot of water here. It's like, don't dock into the center because there's no shorefish around the tower, but just do one of the docks at the side, and 4 or 5 fishing ships, fast castle is something we have seen a lot.
Was that an intentional change? Because I think the latter version, because they have it in ranked now, has the shorefish near the tower.
I think that was intentional, yes.
Okay, because that's
it
like...
was just like, it made it more even, right? Because if it can spawn next to it, you can have like 3 shorefish protected by the sea tower.
Okay.
And sometimes there is none, at least from the generation that we saw.
Is it... If the tower doesn't have fish underneath it, is there not a lot more incentive to go for water and feudal age then? Because, like, if
there might be, yeah.
They can hide their fish, but they can't actually fish if you go in there with Navy now, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it would be more incentive, but still, like, there's no deep fish at all.
Yeah. Makes sense. Well, I remember the Italians, they're so cheap for them to go up to each age, right? So it feels very natural, I think, for TaToH to maybe just fast castle, give up his fishing ships, or at the very least, just keep them alive underneath the tower. You don't need to let them die. And then if you're worried about your opponent really having water control, it's pretty easy for you to switch back on later to water. So this is a difference of approach. Seems like a water build to me for Barles. Big thing about this map we haven't mentioned yet. It's extremely obvious for those with eyes, but there might be people without eyes or just listening. I don't know. There's limited gold at the players' bases, and then there's gold in the north and the south here, so players will have to move out there eventually.
Mm-hmm. By the way, it looks like Barles is playing a scout opening here.
Ooh, and TaToH just saw the barracks. Wow, that's crazy. Would you consider that lucky from TaToH to see that barracks?
At this timing, yeah, surely.
Okay.
And now he sees the scout, just trades off, knows that Barles has to be up before him.
Yep, his scout is dead.
He has to take the fight.
Yep. That's the way to do it. Take the fight there. Your scout will die anyways. At least weaken it a bit. Definitely would be a good time to check to see if there's any holes in TaToH's walls. He took no risks here, Nilly. He walled to the berries, not to the TC. And, you know, things will be a little bit at the limit. But being the Italians, the expectation is TaToH should be able to figure out a fast castle here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exactly what we would expect, right? Even he could sell some resources, buy them back, 4 on gold. Feels like he can buy 100 food for himself. Mm-hmm. Those 4 fishing ships will collect 400 food plus. So I think it will be relatively chill for him.
Yep, and no Navy from Barles. I'm really curious on this, like long term, right? Obviously, we have the 3 deciders end today. We got TaToH next, but then a week 4 of qualifiers and then a break before the main event happens in early January. I'm curious on the fishing aspect, but I think what would change it is if it was deep fish, and the fact that shorefish is very slow with fishing ships is why players don't really seem too bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
Barracks from TaToH.
Tatto goes for this. Stable and blacksmith to follow it up. He is showing stable barracks at the front, but doesn't really matter. And TaToH maybe even builds a spearman here. Wouldn't surprise me to just scare those scouts away.
Yeah.
But also could reroll with houses.
So I don't know if you know this, but I saw a lot of your wrecks from on shoals because you did a fair amount of training for qualifying for Gold Season 3. Mm-hmm. And I did a fair amount of training, and I was helping others train when I lost like a noob. So I looked at a lot of wrecks. And you really liked to get the relics on this map. You were like... The amount of times that you would have like 5 relics on this map was just insane.
So I think it's not that good, though. But yeah okay.
Okay, well, I mean, anyways, as a compliment, so take it. And my point is, having the scouts could be really nice here. So I like that Barles has those, especially, if you get pushed off of gold and whatnot, having some extra relics is always going to be good.
Crazy, by the way, how Barles has a competitive castle age timing.
Yeah,
but he played fast castle, fast feudal age, adds the scout and the market. It's just catapulting him towards Castle Age now.
Feudal Age into market meta. That's ridiculous. And again, Saracens don't really have a shortage of options too. A lot of people, like, I think, put them in the wrong category of civilization. Yes, pros are oftentimes playing rather like YOLO with them because of the market, but they now have even stronger camels. They have great archers. They have great siege options. They have great monk options. They have solid navy. It is actually, for a civ that lacks the Cavalier upgrade, one of the more diverse civs in the game in terms of options, I think.
I think the camels might be too strong. With 145 HP right now,
really?
I think they're crazy. Yeah.
You think, wait a second, so you think that 145 HP camel in Castle Age is too much?
I think so, yes.
Wow, Nilly. Well, you know what? I'm inclined to agree with you. And we'll see. They were always strong before. Tatto did add a fire galley here. And he did kill... make Barles reposition the 3 fishing ships.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice, at least.
Tatto at TCs. Not unlikely that this will be 3 TC play. And I don't think... Oh, Monastery actually being added here by Tatto. That's a bit surprising to me. I thought it would be 3 TC into then Monastery.
Yeah. And Barles saw the Monastery, but I'm pretty sure he expected this type of game when he saw Tatto also added scouts. Bless you. And TC in the north from Barles. So another thing that I felt was quite common was players wouldn't build up their eco too heavily in the gold areas until later on in the game. So that is a difference of approach here. Tatto happy to use the gold that's here for now. Bless you again. Yeah, thank you for doing it away from the mic, but trying to be respectful. So like Tatto's approach might be to find if Barles sets up eco somewhere and pressure it, whereas Barles is going to get as much stone and gold as possible in those areas.
Big question is, how is the villager count going to look like? And Tatto keeping his better fish alive might be a slight advantage. TC timing not the greatest though. Is he really diving for this? Scout tries to block.
He'll get it. He gets it. Loses the light cav, but he gets the monk. Not too bad there for Barles, especially considering Tatto has not moved out to the other golds yet, but again still has, let's see, how much? 2,500 gold left in his base.
Okay, well, certainly the typical time to transition is late Castle Age. We've seen Barles being next to the golds, moved to the stone, and Barles is now redocking.
Yeah, interesting.
That's a bit of a surprise to me.
I wonder if he feels like he can just get more value from those 3 fishing ships with that. I don't even think he's going to make Navy. It still feels like something I would have given up on personally. But like have upgrade coming in for Tatto now. Both players still trying to contest for the relics. But, you know, this game is definitely going towards Imp, right? There's no doubt in my mind. The Italians having that cheaper Imp could be super helpful here. Did Tatto have husbandry this whole time on the scouts? Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, he clicked it very quickly.
Nice. So, fun fact is, like, husbandry scouts are 0.06 faster than light cav was with husbandry. I think there was no husbandry for Barles, but still, that's why the scouts were able to chase down nicely there.
Well, scouts in general are already faster than the light cav.
Yeah.
And then we added husbandry in addition to that. Tatto gets a villager kill at the front. Yep, nice move.
First eco kill of the game. Nice control from Tatto. Did also scout that there is a monastery and a TC in the north. So my thinking is, if you're going to build a castle anywhere for your Tatto, you might want to build up some army and drop that castle in the north and then just go fast. Just click up to Imp, right? Try and treble that down. And you know, on the flip side, obviously, Barles has to find army to protect from that possibility.
Also, like, Italians is the only civ that doesn't need to really, or like one of the best civs that doesn't need to really contest the gold. In the sense, if you have a piece of it, you can just build a barracks in front of their base, a barracks on the other side, and just spam some condos, and it will be so tough for them.
Yep. And that is one of Tatto's signature units, right? Like, he's I have memories dating back to like 2017, 2016 with TaToH making condos. I don't know if he still has a TaToH condo emote on his channel, but back when his Twitch channel wasn't even TaToH, it was Robert Stinson or whatever. Like he's loved his condos. So condos and demos, that's TaToH for you. And it's a really good unit, especially with the timings, right? Because like you said, you just need to hit him. You don't need to really like upgrade different versions of it. Very nice.
Castle now at the top for Barles. Goes for quite some monks here, so the early condo wave won't really do too much. We have Sanctity. TaToH sits at 2 relics, same for Barles here. We have 7 out on the map. Lightcav at the bottom denies TaToH from picking up another one.
I've seen Barles kill a lot of monks. I want to say 5. He just killed 2 in front of TaToH's base earlier. He just killed the one in the south that you mentioned. It might even be more than that. And considering TaToH doesn't have a big piece of the pie with gold, losing out on that many monks could be a pretty big deal. Obviously, the 2 relics just pay back long term, but still not ideal. And the Saracens don't even necessarily, in theory, need to rely on the gold as much either, because they can sell things to get gold. So with the castle in the north from Barles with better gold control.
Let's take a look here. Lightcav versus Lightcav. Spacing this one down. Still husbandry versus no husbandry. So really solid. Needs to help out those spearmen apparently against the crocodiles.
This is what it looks like when I go for a walk outside in Florida.
Florida, man.
I thought it was funny how Barles took out the market from TaToH. TaToH took out the market from Barles. And my instinct was to be like, ooh, that's really nice. And then I was like, oh, Saracen market's super cheap. It's not.
Just built one next to it.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
Ooh, Spearman taking the fight at the bottom. Now Lightcav around. TaToH with 2 houses. Needs a palisade. Gets it in time. Wow, that was good.
This has been a long series. This has been 3 hours. Very little of that has been breaks. And very easy to get to tiny details wrong there, especially when you are down. TaToH has been in every single NAC event. TaToH isn't anyone you could ask, even some random person off the street that doesn't even know the game. Ask them who their top 5 is in this game. They'll somehow know TaToH. No promises, but
everyone.
This is a big deal, all right? So TaToH's got to make it to Imp here and push his timings and take us to a Game 7. Otherwise, he's going to have to wait till next week's qualifier to have a shot.
But his Imp timing will be better than Barles.
Very true.
Barles now preparing some archer ranges at the top. CA an option, Arbalest an option. TaToH with the defensive castle at home. That is a bit of a surprise to me. Oh, that's something I didn't expect. I thought he would build the castle more at home.
So you think the castle he's placing is too risky?
At the gold. No.
Oh, at the gold.
I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, I misspoke.
Got it. I think he wants his... So I think he wants that castle to make trebs. And, oh god, the gate's going to open. Okay, those 2 villagers are destined to die, but that's fine. Yeah, I think he really wants to... Like, right now, he feels like he has enough gold in the south, and he has army there. So as long as he can make trebs to push Barles away from gold, the next castle, or protecting the south with a castle, can kind of wait.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Good hand card.
Nice. I mean, his eco is going to be phenomenal, Barles. It's going to be really good.
Yeah.
But
this map is a lot about timings.
Yep. And handcart delays that timing potentially a little bit. But at the same time, it's like you're never... In an even game, economically, which is almost what this is, Italians are always going to win the imp race, it feels like. So
Barles at endless amount of stone. TaToH, very solid numbers, and 28 on stone as well. So both really knowing how important castles are. Wouldn't be surprised if we see very early chemistry from both players as well. And it doesn't look like TaToH is setting himself up for some condo play. It will be the Genoese opening.
So TaToH has a defensive castle that could also opt as an offensive castle to contest the gold. Barles just has one castle, and that is to, could be an offensive or defensive castle for the gold. Barles doesn't have anything. It is main eco, which is surprising to me with 1700 stone and rising. And that would give us a better idea on how he's going to treat this, right? If you were to double down in castles in the north, well, that tells us he's going to have heavy priority there. He could technically have heavy priority in both areas, but I would guess that the majority of the people listening and watching haven't played too much of this map. This could easily be very tricky for both, where either player could get pushed in a crucial area here. It's just like, what do you value more, your gold or your wood and your food? TaToH clearly thinks he's going to play defensive.
Sick. Yeah, double castle there. Like he thinks he's having the better late game. He has to trust the civilization, apparently.
Yeah.
Hussar Genoese. Might this be the answer to everything?
Hussar Genoese crossbow. I think the weakness would be...
Arbalest.
Yeah, Arbalest Hussar. It'd be kind of similar, to be honest. TaToH is clearing up things on water, too, so he could go cannon galleons, which could be really nice. Yeah, Barles... He sees the Lycav coming through. He knows the TaToH's in the south. He's actually bringing a Vil in the south. We'll see what that does. But TaToH wants to raid the middle. This is fun. I like this. This reminds me of TaToH against Leary in Red Bull when he won that big final. Where Barles or like Leary thought north or south with the gold, and TaToH just went right through the middle with army. And Barles was never expecting this.
The Decisive castle should go up, though. Not sure about the market timing. Yeah, I think he might be scaring this army away. And now a really aggressive castle by Barles at the side.
Yeah, he says...
that's ambitious.
He says, okay, fine. You're going to push middle. I push your base then. Because they've both been putting feelers out there to figure out what's happening. Now, what's fun here is TaToH knew this could be a possibility. He knew, if I push mid... and do not show my hand in the north, I will get pushed. So the castle was just so freaking brilliant from TaToH. I can't get over that. Because it's an important part of this, Nilly. If he didn't have double castle here, this could be bad. He might actually have the edge now.
Well, the castle will go down. It's completely split gold. Oh, this could be a really long game, Tristan. And Italians, they should have a lot of water control. And Saracens, well, they don't really want to play fires. They typically want to go for galleons, but you don't want to invest too much into water, and then it's better for Italians.
I saw a lot of games with the training games I mentioned between really even players on shoals. I saw 3, actually, where it actually went until there was no gold. If there was ever a point in our qualifiers here where this would go until there's no gold left... this could be it, because we got more fortifications from Barles. He realizes his push might stall out against TaToH. So it'll be double castle in the gold area for both players, and counting. There's lots more stone there, too. Wow.
Castle goes down. TaToH holds this one quite easily. It just feels like TaToH is 100% confidence in his late game.
Yep.
This is just like, he plays this so passively. As if he had like 7 relics already, as if he knew his civilization would be so much better. Like, Saracens are not bad in him. There's so many options. You have Arbalest fully upgraded, you have heavy CA, you have bombard cannons, perfect monks, very reasonable water still. You have Hussars, like camels are good.
So, look in the south of the map for me.
One villager.
I was wondering what she was doing. Look at TaToH's vision, Nilly.
TaToH's vision.
TaToH can't see it. And you're never going to expect it.
Though? It's triple castle for the gold control there.
Yeah. I really... galleons. It's funny. I don't know how good it's going to actually end up being for Barles, but he clearly wants some level of a push to start there. But it would be more realistic to have that push start from your base, I think. But yeah, cannon galleons from TaToH. Elite cannon galleon now for TaToH. He's going to have the little tiny leg dude cannons and the ship cannons.
Tiny little leg? Oh, yeah.
They are very tiny individuals, I would say, compared to some of the other warriors out there, you know? but maybe it's because they're not armored. Are you
After a full
self-conscious
day-
as a short individual? Are you trying to see... You're not that
What?
short, actually.
I'm not that short.
Yeah, you're not that short. What are you, 6 foot?
On my Tinder profile, 6 foot. In real life, 5'11", yeah.
Yeah, okay. Got it. Understandable. Genoese and bombard cannons moving forward here from TaToH. And there's heavy fortifications for Barles. Barles will need his own siege. Barles also trying to push TaToH. And this is ridiculous. The one villager castle is about to complete, by the way, for people who want an update on that. That could be, if you somehow get 4 trebs in there and surprise TaToH, you probably take down a castle.
Yeah, but what are you doing then? Like, the 4 traps will die, and they cost more than a castle.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, there are arbs there, and there's building stables, so I think that's the logic, but... Perfect, as perfect as one could ask from TaToH to defend from the push from Barles. Barles has 50 army, trying to push the main base, and now TaToH is pushing 2 separate castles from Barles with 2 entirely separate armies. This is really interesting.
Need cannon galleons here, that's sick. Bombard cannons in the middle, dodges those, even kills the bombard cannons.
That's so good. How can you control all of this while simultaneously having to defend? And I guess the defense for TaToH was what was lacking there. He did lose a bit, but now Barl's clearly distracted as he runs into castles, and you know, there's just too many things for players to look at right now.
It's like overall cost efficiency, though, is on TaToH's side.
I would agree. And 4 relics of the 6th. There might be a 7th out there. I always forget on this map. Nearly
7 relics.
There's still that castle in the south. A big surprise Hussar raid with a couple trebs. I'm telling you, TaToH's looking at a lot of different areas. Barles is building up.
That's just blocking so much pop right now as well.
Yeah, I know. And TaToH's skirms go down. Runs into a bunch of bombard cannons. Upgrades for Barles coming in on his cav. Something that TaToH didn't choose to go for. We thought it would be Hussar Genoese. He is getting Hussar now, though. What a game.
Genoese needed at the bottom. Although, well, I think it's enough army, and the castle's helping out. Trap from the side, quite ambitious. Tries to kill the bombard cannons, left-hand side. It gets 1 at least, but loses a trap.
Barles lost all of his castles. He will lose buildings. He will lose villagers to the cannon galleons, but he can still take gold. And the trebs from the south are attacking TaToH. TaToH sees this now. And does he know about the buildings too? He just knows about the trebs. Look at TaToH's perspective. That is crazy to me. That is so funny. He thinks it's 3 random trebs with no support. Also, TaToH lost like 5 bombard cannons, nearly, in the defense at his base when those trebs showed up. No way.
Got a bit distracted. Masonry is still missing for TaToH. Could also still go for 2 more eco upgrades. And yeah, TaToH just thinks, yeah, easily, I'm just sending in some Hussars. That will be an easy clear up. And he will be surprised on what shows up.
Yeah, it's a whole little base. And the light cav now from Barles could possibly raid the gold, take the trebs. The push can continue. Barles still kind of threatening TaToH's main base. But meanwhile, TaToH has Genoese crossbowmen in the gold for Barles. And Barles needs to clear that up. He needs access to gold.
And the left-hand side push is now in danger. Skirmishes are clearing those Barles. If TaToH sends in some units, like some condos or some Hussars, would be really good. Barles doesn't really have the answers, and right now, 0 on gold for Barles.
Yeah, and if you think about the gold units right now for TaToH, you got Navy, which is sick. Genoese crossbowmen against a lot of light cav is sick. They're still okay against Barles. TaToH, if he can use that gold, should be able to push this back. He's got a nice population lead. He isn't dying at his main base anymore. And Barles is dropped down to 140 population nearly.
That push at the bottom, I think it just cost him so much population for such a long time.
Yeah.
Bombard cannon, TaToH is trying to go for it, but is not really getting enough pop space for it.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Like, I think he factored in everything with land, but completely forgot about how important water could be. And TaToH didn't. Because TaToH's answer to the entire northern area was basically 5 ships. Whereas for Barles, he had to build up a base and wait a very long time. So the population efficiency has been there for TaToH. And he's at 80 military population Barles still cannot easily take gold, but Barles is still pushing the south. Barles needs this southern area to be cleared now, right? If he's struggling for gold, he needs TaToH to struggle for gold too.
And TaToH only has 4 in gold as well, so it's not really that pretty.
That's fair.
Now the bombard cannon arrives though. TaToH goes for another castle next to 2 traps. That would have been really ambitious.
Yeah. And Barles is come with all the family of that one villager. They've heard of her success. They told her she was crazy to go out and live life this way. And then they found out about the riches and the glory, and they want a piece of it. And that's a castle now that can make trebs from the other side. And I wonder if TaToH could stop this. I mean, it seems like it's teetering on the edge that Barles could maybe push this corner.
How the only 2 traps make it 3 traps. 2 bombard cannons will be so good for TaToH. Hussars are so good at clearing this one up potentially. While the left-hand side army, how can you address that?
Yeah. Well, but TaToH's bombard cannons run into the castle by mistake. And he loses both of them. That is not what TaToH needed. And he can't actually... He could lose his next bombard cannon when it comes out of the siege workshop.
Oh, yeah, true.
Depending on the castle and what it's doing at that time.
There shouldn't be anything, right? I think it should be waiting to shoot. Maybe a very fortunate timing for TaToH.
Depends on the volleys.
Yeah.
It really depends on the volleys here. Oh, he's okay. And that means he can take out trebs. Hussars are coming in. Barles never got the Hussar upgrade here. But TaToH's castle, still no masonry. Wild to me.
Yeah. It feels like a massive mistake.
Yeah. Cannon galleons are on the way, though. In the north, Barles still cannot kill that death ball of Genoese and skirms. And the population for Barles has not looked good throughout all of this. TaToH, he doesn't have the food income that Barles does, but he has that gold control right now, which is such a big key on this map. TaToH wants to take this to game 7 in our decider here. And Barles is crumbling. He only has 15 military.
We're really going back to back into game 7s. Just absolutely ridiculous what those people are delivering here. TaToH with the cannon galleons, and it's also funny how I hyped up like Italians. They're so good with their condos, and then an Inver will be Jaffa Barles. Not a single condo spotted this game.
Yeah, it's true. But it also takes you back to the Italians, right? I think they're underrated in their flexibility. They have fully upgraded Hussar. They have the normal Arbalest line, which is better than many other Arbs because of the armor. They have the Genoese, which count to the Cav. They have the Navy, which we've seen here. I think their monks are pretty useful as well. So, you know, both civs with great options. But TaToH's taking great advantage of these options here. And now, what do you do without gold? You'd have to go Skirm and Hussar if you're Barles.
Yeah, feels like it. And now, like, I don't want to say it, but now condos are really strong. If the opponent is out of gold...
Yeah. But, like, there's other things you could do that's also really strong. You could maybe, like, buy some stone for fortifications. You could wall a bit. You're absolutely right, though. Maybe we might see TaToH start to get the infantry upgrades. If he starts to get those, we know the barracks are going to be dropping.
Adds more stables, so he doesn't think about that yet. Cannon galleons could maybe go a bit more for Barl's main base. Is going for more houses for now.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Also, the relics for Barles are also in the north right now, which, you know, we can't be too critical of. This game is basically, if he loses the north, he's dead anyways. But yeah, cannon galleons are going for the main base. I don't know how Barles turns this around, Nilly. There's no way. There's so much army from TaToH. He didn't even have Blast Furnace on those Hussars the whole time.
That's sick. Last wood upgrade, missing for both of them. Last farm upgrade for TaToH. Barles can't even get it. And more stables being added. That girl at the bottom actually got some company. Now there are 3.
Yeah, I find it pretty funny where the trebs are for Barles in the south. Like, this pretty much sums up the whole attempt. It's just like the worst spot for your trebs to be sitting, but he can't do anything with them. He can't escape with them if he wants to. They're not fully trapped, but I mean, Barles is trying, right? And like we said, it's been a long series. Neither player has gone down lightly.
Actually, Tristan, they look fully trapped to me.
Ah, I see what you unpacked on us there, Nilly.
Yes.
Castle down in the main base, though, for Barles. Means the Hussar raids can go right into the eco. There is still one more castle, but even that is rangeable from the cannon galleons. I wish the capture rage could tell us how much building HP was destroyed from these cannon galleons.
Mm-hmm. Maybe one version.
That would be so
I know
good.
they can track it.
Yeah, it's definitely on the list of potential things to add, but it takes some work for them. So I'm talking to them about some funky stuff right now. Maybe we'll add that. Great stuff. TaToH ties it up 3-3, and this is going to be an amazing finish to this series, but it's also going to be a massive heartbreaker, right? Because Barles and TaToH have both proven how good they are, both feel, as far as the quality is concerned of their gameplay, like they are worthy to make it to NAC 5. One will move on from this qualifier. We'll find out who that is on the next game. Obviously, there is a second qualifier next week, but it's not so easy to get to the decider in the first place, is it, Nilly? Right? That's not a guarantee with the other players. So,
yeah. The second qualifier, like the list of people there, reads completely ridiculous as well. Like I could give you the list of people that are playing the second qualifier, and you wouldn't know that it is the second qualifier.
Yeah, exactly. MBL, Jordan, Valeza, Sebastian, there's Doubt, Nikov, Vinchester, just crazy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's the game 7. It will be on the home map for Barles, which is Arena. And we might actually see the matchup, which you think is borderline, if not straight up, Civ win for Barles. He's got Gurjaros, and TaToH, we think it preps Turks for it. So maybe TaToH will try something else. But those were the words you spoke to me. TaToH probably sees the game in a similar way. So if he really feels like, Turks are bad here, he might try something else. But I mean, Mayans is also not good. We are here. It is game 7 now. And the second decider in NAC 5. And the second time we have gone to a game 7 here. Once again, we've got Barles in the blue. We've got TaToH in the red, Nilly. And you really think TaToH's going to have to bring the aggression here as the Turks?
I think so. Gojaras just performed so well against them. Typically, all camel archer civ are really good because Turks simply missing that elite skirmisher. They don't have onager, and those are the two typical counters. Monks are okay for Turks, but do you really want to go mass monks with Turks? Not really, and that's why TaToH maybe even a forward castle might be a play. He could also play something like light cav opening into then a castle. Okay. I wouldn't mind that either.
So, question for you. Is this arena intentionally a bit closer in terms of the walls? I noticed the gen with like Nikov and Mihai also had the walls fairly close. I was curious if there was any intention behind that, or...
Mihai and Nikov, I think they just spawned a bit closer, right?
Yep,
but typically I think it should be... the latter version of Arena.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Got it. Yeah, because this one seems a little bit closer than usual, but not like anything like the one that I mentioned. So if that is what we're thinking here, and TaToH needs to be aggressive with maybe a forward castle, the closer they spawn together, the better. But there's still risk to leave the walls here, especially if he goes to the north. Hello, wolves. So I guess we'll find out pretty soon. Yeah, I don't...
Oh, man. Like, this could be the absolute disaster for GL this weekend if Barles wins this game.
Yeah, well...
So many high hopes. Seed 1, 2, and 3. TaToH, Jordan, Doubt. Jordan and Doubt already out, and now TaToH. Obviously, all eyes on him
and
for
then,
the GL fanboys.
And then what's the likelihood that, like, some of these names are going to be in each other's bracket?
0%. I believe.
Because if they're 1, 2, and 3 would be separate, but like for other players, if gaps get missing because of qualifications, that would change.
Yeah. Exactly. A lot of matchups are changing, but seed 1, 2, 3 will obviously stay with seed 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And there's a massive gap between seed 3 and 4, so no switch around there.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and some heartbreakers too. I didn't see the Jordan Sebastian series, but Jordan lost 3-1 there. Doubt was up 2-1. and ended up losing to Hart.
That was up 2-0.
True, 2-0. But I always, with Doubt recently, for me, it's been the 2-1s. That's the scariest lead for him, you know. I didn't fact check it, but my source from chat was a reputable source, and said that, you know, based on Liquipedia results, Doubt is 0-8 in deciding games this year in S-tier events.
Well, that's simply wrong, because he won games in Warlords.
And the final game?
Yeah, he had 2-3 losses, right? If
Well,
you're up 2-1...
I love how I'm like, the source is great.
Decider, like, you mean
the
being...
game, like the final game is what I think they meant.
Okay.
The final game.
Okay. So if it's 2-2 or 3-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be the case, yeah. Although, he won against the Viper 3-2.
In which?
Maybe it wasn't S tier though. Maybe it was A tier.
Well, it's not important to get into, but like
okay.
I didn't mean to digress too heavily. But the point is,
and I'm the worst one to talk about this, right? But yeah, I see what you tried to say. Yeah.
It's just like, you know, there's just to add to the whole situation, right? Like big names that are going to be in the next qualifier that really want to make it, and a lot of fans and people out there want to see them make it too. So, this will be a heartbreaker. Either way, whoever loses this is going to have to fight very hard to get back to a decider next time. But at the same time, getting ahead of ourselves again, they've also played so good, right? And it all comes down to this. Let's hope for them that there's no like big mistakes that happen here, and that it's just like the best strategy from one player against the best play from the other, and it clashes off. And who knows, maybe we have like a 3-hour banger here because it is arena after all. But
typically a matchup that if we run out of gold is only Hussar from both players, because neither civilization even has pikemen.
Yeah.
So like Spearman Edition is obviously completely useless. Skirms, you don't really need them. So it's Hussar v Hussar, full out on in case we run out of gold.
Could you justify going for a mix of light cav and maybe like an extra camel scout or two? If you're Barles?
They are really bad against monks and not really adding too much against janissaries as well. So it only makes sense if you face full light cav.
This is interesting from TaToH. Instead of going with +2 Vils, he's going to go +3. Which isn't that big a deal. If it is slightly more economic, but that's just not common to see this.
Well, it's worse, right? Typically, you want to go for 2 more builds.
Yeah.
Instead of 3 more builds. You're losing 50 resources if you play 25 + 3 compared to 26 + 2.
You're losing resources if you add the additional build?
No, like if you play 26 + 2.
Yeah.
Or 25 + 3.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you're saying, you're saying that this would be, it would have been better for him to add the additional villager in Dark Age, if anything, is what you're implying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, so later uptime, in the end, we'll be going scouts, and a big question on what you do against one of the strongest camel civs in the game in the long term here for TaToH. Cav archers, great for Turks, but then also the Gurjaras have the Shravamsha Rider, which is a very good anti-archer. Now, I've heard a lot of players claim that unit sucks. With the Castle Age version, at least. Elite, I haven't seen too many instances of, though, in pro play. So, it is really good against ranged units, basically until it's not, because of the way it works. The quote-unquote dodged mechanic, which I just hate. It acts as like a shield, almost. But how good that shield is, how much damage they take when the shield wears off, I'm curious on.
Well, it also makes the whole army better, right? If you have a group of Shivamsha and camels and you're running into CA or Janissaries, basically the whole army survives longer because they are shooting at the Shivamshas for so much longer. And therefore the camels just can eat other camels or other CA so much quicker.
That's true. It adds a lot of nice value to the group. And you do not get pikes. You do not get halbs with the Turks, which would be the #1 thing to maybe attempt against those units, which was, it dominated our conversation before this game even started, right? You brought this up 2 to 3 games ago when we talked about Arena, thought that maybe Tatto would try Turks on shoals and save Italians here if he was scared of the Gujaras. Clearly, we don't know the level of fear he has, but clearly he felt like this is a playable matchup and has belief in himself here. Free light cav upgrade for the Turks. He does hop out, and this will be a relic and boom war from here.
Mm-hmm. Kind of interesting that Tatto wants to play this. It is no monastery for Barles, though. Right now it is an extra town center. Delayed the monastery quite a bit. Tries to delay or deny the relics for now. And Tatto just camped the relic at the front and might be a bit confused that it's not getting contested.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see Barles playing at this level, man. Last time I cast him, I think, was against Yo in the TTL playoffs, and brought in Ganji, who, you know, obviously they train a lot together, they know quite well, and we're hyping him up, and people were showing up that didn't see how good he was in that season, and then the result wasn't there, but the result, I mean, right now is look like we've seen Barles at his best right now. He's playing so good, and Tatto, he's definitely, I would say, in a worse spot with the Civ matchup. And I don't know how many times he's encountered this Civ matchup either, right? So that could go both ways, of course, but good, clean eco for Barles. 3rd TC going up on that stone.
I'm very surprised that we're seeing this approach. Maybe it's TaToH's mind games. Kind of having an idea, okay, this is how you should play against me. This is why I play this. And he just plays it as if it was any other matchup.
Yep.
Maybe I have a heavy misconception, but I always considered this to be one of the very unfortunate, and people are actually picking Gujaras against Turks matchups.
Okay, got it. Have you seen examples of it, or is that just on paper thing?
Yeah, I've played this twice myself, and I've seen one of them.
Okay, which side did you play? Were you Gujaras or were you Turks?
Turks every time.
Okay. Well, that adds to it, right? Someone asked me the other day, like...
TaToH's giving some input. Maybe he can fill us in. How does Turks need to approach the late game against Gujaras? And Draken is also saying 50-50. Okay. So I might have wrong experiences.
Yeah, I was just going to say, our experiences...
Oh, but Viper now disagrees. Viper says Turks have no chance.
Okay. Well, if Hart is listening right now, Hart, you know TaToH's mind for the next series? All mind games. TaToH's lying. Late monastery here for Barles. So if you have if you think you have the better civilization and the better unit options to fight for map control and whatnot, I kind of like what Barles has done here. He's prevented Tatto from taking any relics, so Tatto hasn't had any benefit to having the monks on the field, and the monk goes down right there to the light calf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and still protects more, and this will be a very low relic pickup game.
Yeah.
Both players still out on the map, and then it doesn't really matter. It's most likely going to be a split.
So, also, fun fact on the other side, the Gujaras also don't get pikemen. So this is the rare no pikeman matchup. So it would feel a bit out of place to maybe see some spears. We do have spears now for Tatto. Long term, obviously, you don't want that. But right now, he's struggling for the relic contest. So having a few out there, especially if he hasn't seen monks, to convert the spears, could feel pretty reasonable for Tatto.
Feels like Barles might be the first one to pick up a relic. Now some spearmen added. And TaToH tries to dip his toe into the water, looks at... Well, first kill for him in a long time, and could get a relic for himself.
Where does this castle from Barles go? Is this a defensive castle or is it an offensive castle? I'm thinking more so in front of his gold at home, because he's worried maybe from an aggressive play.
If it's true what I'm thinking, it has to be a defensive one.
Got it. Well, good engagement there from Barles again. Kills another monk. And Tatto is yet to really show any of the spears in that area. He had some in the south, I guess. And Camel gets a kill there from Barles. Barles also micring back the weak one, gets another kill. I mean, these are nice kills for Barles. He is behind Tatto in villagers, but he already has handcart, which means his eco is in a much better spot.
I would think so as well. Just collects resources so much better, work efficiency higher. Tatto now goes for stone. Maybe this is the mass janissary play. Now stables being added. Barles does not want to give up map control against this. Maybe he feels, okay, this is the moment where you might move out and try to put a castle in my face. Let's have enough units out on the map to prevent that.
I think this is history here, working towards against Tatto, because Tatto has done this so many times. I remember NAC 4, right? He would, on the Hippo Arena, which obviously was a bit different, Tatto loved to go for heavy Castle Age play for map control. Master of Arena. I think against TaToH? No, I forget. It was a game where Tatto went for Flaming Camels against Ballista Elephants. Winchester, maybe. Anyways, triple stable. Take the map control. He loves to do this, and I think Barles might actually choose to take that map control and drop a castle on Tatto, because I see Loom coming in now, which is normally an indicator of that.
There's lots of stone, and he builds the castle defensively.
Okay. Maybe just Loom being a normal tech to get at this stage. Castle's not really in a rush. He also added the stables and then didn't produce anymore.
Yeah. But there's see the villagers come out. Yeah.
There's TaToH's stable. Yeah, I think he was concerned that Tatto would go forward pressure and with map presence into a castle. I think a forward castle against the Turks when they get bombard cannon is not the way to do it. Gurjaras don't get bombard cannon, but also they don't get chemistry instantly, so that's the big thing with Turks.
I thought Gurjaras had bombard cannons.
I thought so too, and then yesterday I said they didn't, and oh wait. No, I said they
and people
did,
corrected you.
People, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I'll take your word for it. You're the arena expert here, so.
I'm the bombard cannon lover.
That's true. That's true. You know what I found out the other day, just out of nowhere? That Bengalis get arbalest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this guy doesn't get arbalest. He's got 30 crossbows. What a pleb. Then I saw the upgrade. It was like, oh, I thought he was going to go elephant archer.
Oh, the 1v1 against you?
Yeah. I was playing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and I had 40 arbs on me.
Okay.
Not a fan.
Expecting 30 crossbows. Yeah.
So, camels on the way from TaToH. So this should prompt camels from Barles. He's going to stall out his production first, though, which is really smart with access to this tech. Shatra is still on the way. It's either 20 or 25% off on the food cost of your units, which is obviously huge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's waiting. So that's why TaToH's got the control. TaToH wants the final relic as well. Barles paying close attention to it. Unlikely Barles will be able to stop TaToH from getting this relic. But TaToH did have to spend a lot of resources to protect this here.
It's like TaToH things, Janissaries plus camels will be the way to go. And I don't mind it if we are not seeing elephant archers. And right now it's more stables.
Yeah, I mean, gunpowder camel seems really strong. And yeah, elephant archer. Gurjara's not your typical elephant archer civilization. Normally think of Bengalis. TaToH went elephant archers with Dravidians. They've got some bonuses for it. I think Gurjara elephant archers are worse than the other two civs I just mentioned, but it's still an elephant archer and still very strong, right?
And so much cheaper, right? That makes it crazy. Just imagine you have 25% more.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But certainly not something that Barles is thinking about right now. He's just thinking, if this is a camel war, I win this. Did TaToH build his castles to hide the fact he's doing this? Those are very, very odd castles for a normal game.
He just thinks it's necessary for production. Right?
Okay.
If there's a forward castle and he needs to produce traps out of it, that's not what he wants. He knows that Janissaries are a must in this composition.
But obviously the bonus here, hiding it. And Camel's gonna just wander into that castle there. Nice vision from TaToH to kind of see how Barles is set up. And Barles doesn't have his base set up that differently. The one castle outside the walls is more typical to control the gold, but the other one inside of his walls is very safe. And heavy camel on the way. There's frontier guards. Extra melee armor on the camels. That will mean the Gurjara camels dominate any camel-to-camel engagement. However, gunpowder will shred the camels.
But if all the camels are shredding the other camels, then we suddenly are in a spot, okay, only Janissaries survive, and all the camels are dead, and then Shivamshas could take over, but we're not taking into that one at all yet.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, in all fairness, right, like, Elephant Archer, expensive. Getting Shivamsha as well, expensive. Maxing out. Well, actually, he's not maxing out. He is going double blacksmith to catch up on upgrades, though, for the camels and their upgrades. Outpost from Barles on the side, really big move here.
Yeah, he has so much vision. It's really, really good how much he sees.
Yeah, and obviously there's really nothing of value in the middle except for the space, right? There's no, like, gold or stone there. It's kind of interesting how it's split up, north and south, and TaToH is very much in the dark. We'll see that outpost. Shows his heavy camel upgrade, which won't come as a surprise. And no siege from either player yet. Neither player wants to spend res on siege because they know they need to max out before they make a push.
31-minute arena game. KD is 6-5, and I don't think we had a single conversion.
Yep. Okay, now that's a first for Barles. That's the first time he sees that unit there, that gunpowder. That's elite. And he takes the fight, thinking the armor's enough. And let's see. This is one unit type versus two, and it is melee and ranged for TaToH, which is normally way better. And Barles is doing what I expected him to do the second he saw these things. He's backing away.
And indeed, Shivamsha now being added in. This was a good fight for TaToH to start this one off, I believe. Monks, I would love to see him add some artillery now coming in. I think, is this the spot where you add 2-3 bomber towers even?
Could see it. I think, you know, the awkward thing for TaToH, though, is he doesn't really have... I think bomber towers is a product of a lot of control, and I don't see that right now. Like in the south, for example. That's annoying, right? That could be a problem, and I don't think he even knows he's being raided yet. Now he does. So, you know, a couple towers, MBL would do it, right? But maybe only if he gets that stone. He doesn't actually have anything on stone because he can't take the 4 tiles just yet.
And it feels like Barles will get some nice control of extra gold and stone at the bottom. Now another engagement, those Janissaries are actually taking the fight against the Shivamshas. Not the greatest move here by TaToH that he's not really focusing down the camels. Now the Shivamshas are dying, and that's the end of all those camels.
I'm not convinced the Shivamshas did anything there, man. To spend the resources on elite, it's like they have the shield or the dodge, but the second that's not in play, they just die miserably. They're 90 HP. And TaToH having the camels in there also offers a lot of bonus damage. This is a problem for Barles.
Massive problems.
These fights have been brutal here. Like initially they don't take damage, but then they melt. And they're just gone.
Oh, wow.
I don't know when you played your games, but remember they did nerf this a couple times, and TaToH's got a big unit mass. And again, there's that main... that composition you want in a game of melee and ranged. Having 2 types of cavalry together, it's really hard to get that ranged group in the back.
Shivamsha now raiding the bottom. TaToH will be out of that stone. Oh no, Trebate, the camel's a bit away. And TaToH, that looks like a crazy strong army now.
Yeah.
The castle can't be held. Barles is messing up for another big wave.
And what I love about this from TaToH is Barles found out about this when he had elite and he had 30 of them. He was so patient and he hid this. And so I don't think Elephant Archer is possible when you get surprised like this. You can't add more ranges or add any ranges and then go for the tech switch. You have to stick with the stable idea. And clearly right now, TaToH with the momentum. It's 3-3. Will TaToH make it back to NAC? Or will it be Barles getting there for the very first time? Barles is going to try and go for a flank here, Nilly. He's got all his camels going for the flank, actually.
And villagers, who tries to build a castle there at the right side. But TaToH can obviously clear this one up quite easily. Can just move 10 tiles further to the right. 2 traps, 2 bombard cannons should deal with this. And those camels are very much out of position. TaToH, can he get some damage done? Yes, he can. Yeah,
camels still can move away. That castle is It's chaotic.
So wasted. Yeah.
It's chaotic. And oh man, the camels are engaging without the Shrivamshas. And now the Shrivamshas come in. They can kind of find their spots in theory because they are fast. But TaToH's grouping of his units seems much better. It's just going to be the siege that Barles goes for to keep the castle up. But where are the Shrivamshas? They disappeared.
All gone against the camels, and that was a really good fight for TaToH again. Now 6,000 extra resources killed in this one, but the castle lives for now.
Yeah, I mean, for now, right? There will be more siege on the way. But this composition from TaToH with the Turks looking so good. He's going to drop a castle in the south. And here come the camels now from Barles to deny this. And I don't think TaToH realized there was a gap there. Or maybe he feels like his castle's going to go up anyways. But TaToH will take losses. Oh, man. And the Shrivamsha from Barles going to snipe the bombard cannon from TaToH to keep his castle up. TaToH's castle up. Barles will complete the castle too. And TaToH gets back to protect the bombard cannon. Wow. What a crazy game.
A lot of gold. Somehow some camels got into the base of Barles, but a conversion will happen. And, well, that base is more annoying than I thought it would be.
Yeah, neither player actually has a lot on gold right now. Because Barles lost the gold outside of his walls, and so did TaToH. The army, though, it's 45 camels and 45 Janissaries, and then 50 Shrivamshas, 30 camels. I prefer TaToH's army. The KD has shown us how strong this can be. Wow.
TaToH gets his gold back now. Those Janissaries, their damage output is just ridiculous.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly how the dodge is working with the Shrivamsha, but I'm guessing they're dodging like the first volley, and then the second volley they die.
Yeah, they should dodge 5 shots, I think, Elite. I think normal dodge is 3.
Okay. So 5 total, yeah, 5 separate shots. Yeah, and I guess the camels too. Like, the camels also are just such a superior unit against the Shrivamsha, which is a big part of this.
Now TaToH going for the bottom castle. I think Murderhold's going to pin a nice addition there.
Yeah. TaToH's going to get Treadmill Crane instead. Maybe he did get Murder Holes and we missed it. There go the Shrivamshas. Big Shrivamsha raid here. Wow, look at the houses from TaToH 4 hours into the series. You shall not pass. Beautiful. The camels are there to defend, but he also has camels to protect his gunpowder. What perfect grouping there. It's so difficult to get that ratio right.
That is really, really impressive. Another trap arriving. Janissaries protecting that. Now the Shrivamshas are arriving, trying to dive, but it's simply not enough. Those bombard cannons might even survive. And Barles is taking a bad fight after another bad fight.
Yeah, seriously. And I think he was thinking the same thing a lot of us did with the Shrivamsha Rider, but TaToH has proved everybody wrong here with that. And TaToH, 200 pop. He needs to focus on the castles in the south. Both players are going to lose their castles here. Big assist to the camels from Barles to get this one done. But the Treb's done most of the work. And I just don't think that Barles has the army. And it's too late and too expensive for Elephant Archer, right?
Yeah, we are completely past that time. He doesn't have any gold for that one. He's at 130 population. He doesn't even have the proper food economy at this point.
Yeah, seriously. And just full stable units. The strength of the Gujaras, but possibly the weakness here. Obviously, the Chakram Thrower has been seen in some epic games. But, you know, the Chakram doesn't feel that great if there's not infantry involved. And obviously, you need the castles for that.
Is Chakram getting 2 shots by a Janissary? Chakram has like 50 HP, Janissary has 22, plus probably some extra damage against infantry.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's no extra damage.
I don't know, honestly. I just know that, you know, for the defensive Barles here, for anyone who's asking why, it's too late to ask why. Simply, they've sunk too much into this. You have to hope that what you're currently doing works. And I'm just not sure. Okay, here's a chance. You've got Shrivamshas up against 40 Janissaries. Let's see. There's no camel support. How do they do? They take the bombard cannons? And they have to leave.
That was okay, though.
Yeah, that's good.
5 Shrivamshas against 5 bombard cannons?
Yep. Unfortunately, TaToH's got full gold control now. TaToH has stone as well available on these side areas. There's 3 areas in the middle of the map where he's taking gold. TaToH has 40 on gold while he's denying the only gold that Barles could see.
This late into the game. That's really sick.
That's wild. Okay, big fight. Shrivamshas and camels. Maybe the first time we've seen the Shrivamshas get a nice little surround in the Janissaries. These units have 83 kills here. 83 kills. And a couple of them are dying. But where's the Cav? Where's the Shrivamshas? What in the world?
Weakest unit in the game, Shivamshas confirmed. Barl drops down to pop 110. TaToH stays strong at pop 200. GG is flying in. TaToH, after 4 times making it to NAC, he will be there a 5th time in a row. Oh boy, what a nail bite of a set.
Yeah, what a nail biter indeed. And what a performance from TaToH. He was the first seed in the qualifier for a reason. He showed his strategic mastermind here and in all the other games, but also Barles, keep going, dude. Keep going. There's a qualifier next week. If you play like this against TaToH, there's a very good chance you might be able to qualify as well. So that's the silver lining there. But, I mean, I think I learned a lot about the Sif matchup on Arena here, Nilly.
Did I? This could have been... I know that you're not the kind of guy, but I would have said it in a very passive-aggressive way, pointing out how wrong my co-caster would have been.
Well, my next comment... Hold on. My next comment was going to be, what does this say about your knowledge of Arena, Nilly?
Okay.
Oh, man. I mean, didn't Viper also say that Kajaris should win easily? I think he did.
Yeah. He said that no chance.
No chance. Okay. Well, I mean, Viper's probably going to say Elephant Archers was the difference maker, maybe.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But
7 out of 10 strategy.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I still need to go back to it because I think, like, if you know your opponent is going to Janissary, like a minute or two earlier, and then, of course, you don't believe in the Shrivamshas, which I think Barles has lost all belief in that unit now, right? But let's just say he sees like 5 of them from TaToH and sees the castles. He might be able to commit to Elephant Archers, right? But when he found out about them, it wasn't just like 30 of them. It was also elite. And then TaToH started to really move out and you know, Barles had to stick on stable units. So I know that TaToH probably used the castles for production, but it also seemed to me, because of how far back they were, that he was hiding this. So maybe something to ask him, but it was a great game from him. Obviously, like a complete slaughter here, and just like, you know, probably not the closest game compared to the rest of the series.
Yeah, we can jump into the interview room in the NAC5 Discord, Tristan.
Okay, sure, let's do it.
That's good.
Hello.
What a crazy set, TaToH. And we're down 3-2 with Schultz and Arena to go. Were you scared at all? Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous. I was playing good, so that's kind of the main point here. If you are playing bad, then maybe it gets in your head. But in this case, I was playing good, so I knew that I had my chances on those games, and I just needed to not fail, basically.
Oh man, that was really sweet. And well, you saw that your teammates were actually struggling a bit in the qualification. Did that have any effects on you, or were you like fully in the zone and feeling like, okay, I'm playing my own set?
No, for sure. Like, it doesn't affect me. I was a bit sad yesterday because he didn't make it, but today it's all about me. I need to prove myself that I can qualify it, and then that will be the best for them, because then I can focus completely on helping them for the next qualifier as well, right? So,
great.
My goal was to win today, and I delivered. So I think they're happy as well.
Yeah, and you had a qualifier there going through Ubetnir, Drangstar, and Vivi. Kind of expected wins, but with Barles and how crazy he looked in this qualifier, beating Cabbage and Nikov. How did you go into this match? How did your preparation and the last, like, leading up 16 hours to the match look like?
Well, I knew that Barles was going to be super hard because I faced him on Warlords, and even if I did beat him 3-0, I think the games were super close. So it could have been a closer score there. And he has an interesting style, right? So I think he prepares a lot, and you can see that on the draft I was a bit confused, and I didn't know exactly where he was going to pick every shift. So that I think that's actually really good for him, because then for me it's harder to predict what I want to do before the match starts. I need to wait until I see the match, and then I see, okay, it's Frank versus Brittany, let's say. So it's harder for me to prepare on the spot, basically. And preparation, well, I looked all his games. I look at his draft, the maps were to check if he has any preferences and weakness, but I didn't find that many, to be fair. So I decided to go with my plans, and he was ready. So I think props to him. He played really solid, and he for sure is a good contender for the next qualifier.
I think so as well. T90, do you have any questions?
Honestly, long series, Tatto, 4.5 hours. There's so much to talk about with how that series went, but I'm gonna go right to the final game. Nili had speculated a little bit that the Sravamsha rider could be a big problem against the Janissaries. How much experience did you have in that matchup on Arena? And then did you fear the Sravamsha, or did you have faith in your Janissaries? Talk me through it.
I had this exactly matchup against Viper on the Grand Melee.
Okay.
I was Turks and he was Gurjaras, and I played full Kavarcher Camel, and I had no chance because he basically played full Camel and some Siramsa later, and then his camels were destroying mine, right? So he has cheaper on foot. At the end, it's all about a goal situation. So I knew that I couldn't do the same plan, and I knew as well that the Janissaries was like, we talked about that matchup after the games back then, and then we knew that the answer was Janissaries, and with Janissaries you could beat Gujaras. And actually, I think it's hard for them to stop them.
Okay, it's kind of funny because Nili and I were back and forth on it when you guys were booming, and a bunch of pros gave input, and Viper said that the Turks had no chance. But that's probably because he killed you. He experienced it, the win, right?
Yeah.
And now, my thinking's changed and Nili's thinking has changed a little bit as well. I'm going to assume that Barles also thought Sravamsha would be much better there because he didn't really commit to anything else. But did you, how do you think that goes if he tries Elephant Archer instead of Sravamsha's? Like Elephant Archer Camel, let's say.
I think he doesn't have the goal to do that.
Got it. Yeah.
And I also think that the Janissaries will be really good against elephants as well.
Okay. Yeah. High attack anyways, I guess. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Tatto. That's all from me, Nili. It's all I have to ask.
Thank you.
Yeah, then my final question, obviously, NAC 5, not even 4 weeks to go. What are you most looking forward to?
Wow,
I didn't think about that.
You didn't say beer with T90? What the hell, man?
What?
Well, beer with everyone.
The political response.
Yeah, the political. No, but so far, I told CCM last year, every beer is a win. He didn't drink enough beer. So I guess this year, I think he needs to drink more to win.
You told him every beer is a win.
He said, okay, I've been in Germany 3 times. I had fun every single time. This time, it's time to deliver.
Yeah, I hear that.
Show him the way.
I told him, like 3 beers the day before and then 3 wins the day after.
Okay.
And then one day it was funny because one day, I'm not sure who he faced. And I drank 3 beers with him. He drank only 2. Or 1, I don't remember, and I won 3-2, and I think he lost 3-2 or something.
Okay.
And I told him, like, you see, you missed 1 beer. Okay. And I think the day after he drank 3 beers as well, just to see if it was working.
And I lost 3-0.
Good stuff.
Okay. Tatto, thank you so much for the great set that you delivered, and I'm excited to meet you again in Germany.
Yeah, me too, guys. Take care and enjoy the new series. It's going to be a banger.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.